Let's do it.
Okay, welcome to the evil, oppressive Christian Theocracy
Patriarchy.
World Domination live stream where we are going to be streaming the presidential debate. And we are
Between
going to be
the
making
demons
fun
Mamek and between demons Moloch and Mammon, the
between
child-eating
Moloch
god
Mammon.
and the greed god.
Exactly. And my name is
You
Ben
mean
McLean.
God Emperor Trump?
My
No,
name is Ben McLean, and with me I have
Fritz
uh,
Imperial.
Fritz Imperial, and what's your name again? Fritz's friend,
Hi.
Mr.
What is your
High.
name?
His name's Mr. High for the rest of the stream,
He's Weed Man.
and
You can call me Snake if you want.
we're going to be doing a sort of riff tracks over the top of the live debate.
I prefer Mystery Science. Oh, somebody just put a giant swastika in the chat on the
Yeah.
actual debate.
Yeah, that
Hello.
Why is it buffering? Why is it buffering?
It's because your internet connection sucks.
Yes.
My internet's actually great. It's pretty
Well,
good.
I'm not having any buffering issues.
All right,
Well,
it's fine now.
Since we're starting over, I'm going to have to explain the scoreboard. I have a scoreboard set up here where I'm going to be
Nerd.
I'm going to be awarding the different politicians what I call Machiavelli points or political points. And they will get a point every time they say something that I think increases their political power and their likeliness to win.
My power is increasing.
And they will lose points if they say something that makes them less likely to get votes. And you'll notice I don't have two teams here. I actually have three teams. I have the Democrat Hillary Clinton, the Republican Donald Trump, and the moderator Leslie Holt. And they all have a score because last time Candy Crowley was the third candidate at the debate. And I think that we're probably going to see some of the same ridiculous behavior from Leslie Holt, where he will be interrupting one of the candidates a whole bunch and letting the other candidate talk. And I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out which one of those it is.
Also, it's funny to note that that lady is just talking about how much she hates Trump for the first 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Not biased in any way.
I'm curious as to, because we all want to see what happens when Trump wins, what the social justice warriors' reaction will be. I'm actually curious. I want to see Milo's reaction if Trump loses. I want to
Did
see
you watch Milo's preview to the debate? It was pretty
he will
hilarious.
be a sad puppy.
I care not for Milo. I'm gonna make a video on him.
Now,
He talked about how
I will write a
abortion is
very
murder in his
stern
opinion.
note. What'd you say?
I said he talked about how he thinks abortion is murder.
Milo
Of course
did?
it is. He is pro-life.
Yes, Mr.
Okay, I've got to
Yiannopoulos.
add Milo to the scoreboard and give him like infinity points for that. I have to say that changes my opinion of Milo a lot.
Well, he is a practicing Catholic. I don't know if he's very good at it, but
Yeah,
for
I
obvious.
think he might need a little more practice.
I
So
was about to say, hey, none of us here are Catholics. Oh wait, no, wait, you are, Snake.
we
Hey,
have
we're all sinners.
Should we go
especially-
back? Didn't you say you wanted to us to give our backgrounds on all this? So Ben, how about you start?
Sure. Okay. I was a lifelong Republican until this year. I was a William F. Buckley conservative, social conservative first, fiscal conservative second, Republican maybe third if I get around to it. And Trump is none of those things as far as I'm concerned. He's an opportunist, populist douchebag. And I can't see
fan
any
of
way
the
I will be
Donald,
voting
huh?
for that guy. Not even to beat Hillary, who seems to me to be simply more of the same. And so, yeah, I'm pretty much not
Are you-
voting, so I'm going to be making
Never
fun of
Hillary,
both
never
candidates tonight.
All right,
Plot.
Snake, go ahead.
Are you in the never Hillary, never Trump thing?
Yeah, never Trump, never Hillary, never either of these people. Neither of them should be trusted. In fact, I'd probably vote for Leslie Holt over either of these people.
I thought you were gonna say Leslie Jones.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so Snake, how about your background?
I'm
and
sorry,
what you
Lester Holt. I said it wrong.
There you go.
think? All right, so Snake, how about your background and all this?
I mean, I don't have like an illustrious history on YouTube or anything. I'm just more of a conservative guy. I guess slightly libertarian. It depends on the topic, really. And I am a fan of Trump, at least, on the whole. Obviously, not everything he says, but I was planning on voting for him unless something changes.
Well, I'm a monarchist, so I don't care about any of this. I want a king. Oh, Matt's here. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hello,
How are you?
welcome to the
Good.
stream.
Just got home.
Yeah, you've got
Hey.
to open it up in your own window, and we're going to be doing a sort of riff tracks or MST3K kind of thing over the debate. Try to think of the funniest thing you can think of to say, call out fallacies. And I actually have a scoreboard for the three candidates, Clinton, Trump, and Holt. And whenever they say something that I think increases their political power, they get a point. Whenever they say something that I think decreases their political power, they lose a point. Unfortunately, there's no way to... Is there a way to give them negative points?
I actually think that.
Oh, awesome! I can give negative points. Oh,
I think you have to hide I think you need to hide the chat because the chat's actually. I think it's slowing down the internet or whatever.
Matt,
Not for
I
me.
recommend you watch the Breaking News Network, just because that's the one we're
That's
all watching.
what we're watching. Someone share the link in the chat again.
I think it's already there.
Okay.
If it's not,
I don't see
just type Breaking News Network into YouTube. It should be the first link.
Okay.
But if you want to,
Just so you guys know, the audience on my channel should be able to see my whole screen, which means I can't tab out to do other things. I have to stay on this screen the whole time.
oh, somebody said people of color. Take
Okay.
a drink.
Oh,
We've gone from colored to black back to colored again.
I know, it's gone full
That
circle.
doesn't seem...
I mean, these
I mean-
people are just total regressives. I mean, now, anyways, if you want my more serious, well, I am serious. I do want a king, but if you want my more practical perspective, is I think I am convinced to vote for Trump, but only because
I won him over.
Well, no, you didn't do that. No, it's only
Whatever you
because
want to do.
that celebrity video I did my latest video on, they made me so furious. I said, "All right, screw it. I'm going to vote for Trump now."
I know, like if all these idiots want you to vote for Hillary, then you vote for Trump.
No, I want Hillary to win, and then I want Hillary to die. So then Tim Kaine is president. So then basically we'll have an extremely spineless president, and then power will go back. We'll have to go back to where it should be, which is in Congress.
Oh, I thought you were going to say king, but
I thought you would say the Supreme Court. That's where all the
No,
real
Supreme
power
Court
is.
needs to be burned to the ground.
I'm just joking.
Burn the Supreme Court to the ground.
So who else have we got on here? We have me, Fritz Imperial,
First time we have a woman.
Mr. Pie.
It's all right. I
my name is
love
Snake
the
is Ninja. Nice to be with you guys.
You know what's a great story is that the little Prince William. He was greeted by Justin Trudeau, and he snubbed him when the Prime Minister wanted to give him a high five. He's an anti-feminist.
Hey, whoever's got the debate coming through their microphone, you totally need to wear headphones. I think it's fixed.
Do you hear it right now?
No, I think it's fixed.
My
I think
volume
that was
probably just
my
too high.
apologies.
All right.
Cool. So now I really, next time I do one of these, I really need to have some software that allows me to draw on the screen, because these talking heads on the news, this Info Babe and these other just robotic talking heads they have on the news, they need mustaches, like Hitler mustaches.
Dude, this YouTube chat.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna show the YouTube chat, because there's no people in our chat. I've seen one person so far, and
Oh, dude.
the YouTube
That's all
chat
the good
is
stuff.
just a lot funnier, I have to say.
I
Pepe,
can barely read it.
someone's
It's going so
posting
fast,
Pepe,
it's being
Pepe
built.
and Schwastikas.
All right, it's starting. Everyone, shut up.
It is?
Yeah, they're coming on stage.
Yep, here we go.
Here we go.
There's the handshake.
What?
But I'm curious if the
Okay, I'm gonna hit refresh. Maybe this video is not available
Look at Hillary
anymore.
there, being so friendly and shaking hands with such a racist fascist.
Oh, I bet she votes for Trump.
Oh wow,
Dude,
I've
it would not surprise me.
Oh my god.
I've just
Oh
lost
my god.
this
The
stream.
stream just died.
I've
Yeah,
got
it
it. I've got it.
Send me a link.
There it is. Somebody claimed it on copyright.
Oh my gosh.
YouTube Heroes strikes
That was
again.
Perfect timing.
And chat,
Okay, what are we
chat
going
is
to now?
disabled on it.
Someone just got shot up to level 5 YouTube hero.
So, what stream are we going to use now? Or what video, I mean?
He just sent us the
I
link.
just sent you the link. Unfortunately, I
Okay.
don't think it's loud enough.
Well, speak quieter.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, I see it.
Candidates, we look forward to hearing you
Pepe
articulate
versus,
your policies and your positions, as well as your visions and your values. So, let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Achieving Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. There are two
Building a
economic
wall.
realities in America today. There's been a record 6 straight years of job growth, and new census numbers show incomes have increased at a record rate.
Yeah,
after
but
years
wages
of
aren't
stagnation.
are still stagnant.
However, income inequality remains significant, and nearly half of
Oh
Americans are
no,
living
income
paycheck to
inequality.
paycheck.
Whatever
None
shall we
cares.
do?
We do have a worse income
Why are you
inequality
a
than
better
Russia,
choice than your
actually.
opponent to create
Yeah,
the kinds of
but,
jobs
like,
Although,
that will put
we do
People
have
with
a high-
college
pockets of
degrees are
American
making
workers.
more than
Thank you,
people
Lester,
without.
Thanks to Hofstra
How
for
horrible.
hosting us.
The witch is talking.
The central question in this election is really what kind of country we want to be and what kind of future we'll build together. Today is my granddaughter's
she's won
second
the debate.
birthday,
She's
so I
using a
think
personal
about this
story.
a lot. First, we have to build an economy
Must
that
mean we have
works
to like
for
her now.
everyone, not just those at the top. That means we need new jobs, good jobs, with rising incomes.
Look at that.
I want us to
Look at
invest
Trump.
in you. I want us
Looks
to
like Clint
invest in
Eastwood.
your future. That
Take
means
my
jobs in
date, punk.
infrastructure, in
Oh,
advanced
yeah.
manufacturing.
We need the whistle.
In innovation and technology.
So being a-
clean,
so
renewable energy, and
Me being the
small
New
business,
Yorker in
because
here,
most of
I
the new
think we're
jobs
going to
will come from
apologize. One of
small
these people is
business.
going to be. So we're going to have a
We
New
also
Yorker
have
as
to
president
make the
next.
economy fairer. That starts with raising the national minimum wage and also guarantee, finally, equal pay for
Wage
women's
gap
work.
myth.
I also
Of
want to
course.
see
Wait,
more
she said
companies
equal pay
do
for
profit
women's
sharing.
work?
Yep.
You help create
She
the
literally
profits, you
used the
should be
myth
able
in
to
the
share
first
in them,
statement.
not
No,
just the
she said
executives
women's
at
work.
the
Like
top.
there's a difference between
I want us to
women's
do
work
more
and
to
men's work.
support
Isn't that
Well, there
sexist?
is.
people who are
Yes, she is a
struggling
sexist.
to
She's a
balance
Nazi.
family and work.
She's also
I've heard
gendering
from so
people's
many of
work.
you
What
I
the
about
know.
the difficult choices
Social
Even though-
you face and the stresses that you're under. So let's have paid
Why is-
family
isn't there
leave,
live
earned
captions
sick
on this?
days.
She's
Let's
just
be
stealing
sure we have
lines from
affordable
Bernie.
child care and debt-free college. How are we going to do it?
Oh,
We're
she
going
did
to
that
do
during
it
the
by
primary.
having the wealthy pay their fair share and close the corporate loopholes.
Fair share.
CC button.
Finally, we tonight are on the stage together, Donald Trump and I. Donald, it's good to be with you. We're going to have a debate where we are talking about the important issues facing our country. You have to judge us. Who can shoulder the immense, awesome
mean, Trump is pretty
responsibilities of
ripped,
the
I bet.
presidency? Who can
Okay, actually,
put into
yeah, we have
action the
people in our
plans that will
chat.
make your life better?
Nice.
I hope that I will be able to earn your vote on November 8th.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr.
So,
Trump, the same question
yeah,
to
anybody
you.
who
It's about
says anything
putting
in our
money,
chat,
more money into the pockets of
we'll
American
get
workers. You
that,
have up to 2
uh,
minutes.
Thank you, Lester. Our jobs
We'll
are
get
fleeing
that
the country.
preserved for posterity.
They're going to Mexico. They're going to many other countries. You look at what China is doing to our country in terms of making our product.
Oh, does Hillary get a
They're
point for her opening
devaluing
statement?
their currency,
No.
and there's nobody
Okay.
in our government to fight them. And we have a very good fight, and we have a winning fight, because they're using our country as a piggy bank to rebuild China. And many other
rebuild
countries
it
are
after
doing
what?
the same thing. So we're losing our good jobs, so many of them.
question.
When you look at what's happening in Mexico, a friend of mine who builds plants said it's the 8th wonder of the world. They're building some of the biggest plants anywhere in the world.
Gigantic
some of the most
ferns,
sophisticated,
massive
some of the best
flowers,
plants.
lots of plants.
With the United States, as he said, not so much. So Ford is leaving. You see that, their small car division leaving. Thousands of jobs, leaving Michigan, leaving Ohio. They're all leaving, and we can't allow it to happen anymore. As far as child care is concerned and so many other things, I think Hillary and I agree on that. We probably disagree a little bit as to numbers and amounts and what we're going to do, but perhaps we'll be talking about that later. But we have to stop our jobs from being stolen from us. We have to stop our companies from leaving the United States, and with it, firing all of their people. All you have to do is take a look at Carrier Air Conditioning in Indianapolis. They left, fired 1,400 people. They're going to Mexico. So many, hundreds and hundreds of companies are doing this. We cannot let it happen. Under my plan, I'll be reducing taxes tremendously from 35% to 15% for companies, small and big businesses. That's going to be a job creator like we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. It's going to be a beautiful thing
Ronald
to watch.
Reagan. I think
Companies will come,
that.
they will build, they will expand, new companies will start.
Reagan.
And I look very, very much forward to doing it. We have to renegotiate our trade deals, and we have to stop these countries from stealing our companies and our jobs.
Secretary Clinton, would you like to respond?
Well, I think that trade is an important issue. Of course, we are 5% of the world's population. We have to trade with
We're
the
the
other
only
95%.
5% that matters.
And we need to have smart, fair trade deals. We also, though,
I must say, Trump's opening there was a little bit less off the wall than I expected.
And the kind of plan
I predict he's going to try to
put
pivot to the
forth
left. I
would
think he's
be
going to surprise a
trickle-down
lot of people
economics
tonight.
all over again.
He
In
might
fact,
actually,
it
I
would
think he
be
might try and
the
be
most
calm.
extreme version,
This
the
might be a bit
biggest
of a very
tax
calm
cuts
He
debate.
seems calm.
the top percent of
Do you
the
think
people
it's a
in this
good
country
idea
that
for
we've
him to
ever
be
had.
calm, or should
I
he
call
be
it
more
trumped up.
outgoing?
I think something boring might
Wait,
actually
what did
help
she
him.
she just said
That
trumped
is
up?
not how we grow the economy. We
Oh,
just
boy.
have a different view about what's best
Okay, I
for
think she
growing
gets a
the
point for
economy,
trumped
how we
up.
make investments that will actually produce
now it's
jobs and
1-1.
rising incomes. I think we come at it from
She declared war on a
somewhat
cartoon
different
frog. She
perspectives.
should start out with
I
negative
understand
15
that.
points.
You know, Donald
15.
was
Well,
very fortunate.
no,
in his
everybody has to
life,
start
and
with
that's
0 at
all
the
to
beginning of the
his
debate. There's
benefit.
going to be a
He
new
started
score
his
for the
Oh
next
business
God,
with
you're really
$14
saying he was
borrowed
fortunate?
from his
You're
father,
oh.
and he really believes that the more you have
Why does
wealthy
she keep
people, the
pretending
better
that
off
she
we'll
is
be,
one of
and that
us?
everything will work out
She's
from there. I
she's
don't
as
buy
rich as
that.
him easily.
I have a different
she's
experience.
attacking
My
Trump
father
for
was a
being
small
wealthy,
businessman. He worked
basically.
really
She is
hard,
wealthy.
created drapery fabrics.
No, she's attacking Trump
Long
because
tables
he
where
was
pulled
born
out
wealthy.
those
She had to
tables
sell
and
her
went
Rudolph
down
soul
with
to
the
fund that
sunscreen and
wealth.
dumped the paint in and took the
Okay.
squeegee and
She's
kept
so. Are you
going.
saying she's a modern
And
day
so what I
Faust?
believe is the more we can do
I'm not
for the
quite on
middle
board with that
class,
reference,
the
but-
more we can
Well,
invest in
Faust is an
you,
old
story.
your
You're
education,
illiterate.
your skills, your
I am
future.
illiterate.
She sold his soul to the devil
better
for
we
That's
will
okay,
material
grow,
so-
and
wealth.
the better we'll grow. That's the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
economy I want us to
That's
see again.
basically
Let
what
me
I'm
follow
saying.
up with Mr. Trump if I can. You've talked about creating 25 million jobs, and you promised to bring back millions of jobs for Americans. How are we going to bring back the industries that have left this country for cheaper labor overseas? How
It's magic.
specifically
I ain't gotta
are you gonna
explain.
tell American manufacturers that you have to come back?
Well, for one thing, and before we start on that, my father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars with some of the greatest
We employ
assets in
thousands
the
of
world.
people.
And I say that only because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. Our country's in deep trouble. We don't know what we're doing when it comes to devaluations, and all of these countries all over the world, especially China, they're the best ever.
Oh,
at it.
thank you, Mr.
What they're
Trump.
doing to us is
Oh,
a
my.
very, very sad thing. So
Japanese.
we have to do that. We have to renegotiate our trade deals. And Lester, they're taking our jobs, they're giving incentives, they're doing things that, frankly, we don't do. Let me give you the example of Mexico. They have a VAT tax. We're in a different system. When we sell into Mexico, there's a tax. When they sell in automatic, 16% approximately. When they sell into us, there's no tax. It's a defective agreement. It's been defective for a long time, many years, but the politicians haven't done anything about it. Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very
You're
happy.
here.
It's very important to me.
Well, Kelly, I
In all
could be mean to
fairness
you.
Secretary Clinton, when she started talking about this, it was really very recently. She's been doing this for 30 years. And why hasn't she made the agreements better? The NAFTA agreement is defective just because of the tax and many other reasons, but just because of the fact.
Let me interrupt just a moment.
Secretary Clinton and others, politicians, should have been doing this for years, not right now because of the fact that we've created a movement.
Hello?
They should have been doing
Hello?
this for years.
Hey, Data.
What's
Distributors
happened
came
to our
on.
jobs and our
Awesome.
country and
So,
our
what did I miss?
is, look, we
Where are you guys
let's
watching
see.
the,
Well,
we
first,
cannot do it any longer.
first
Back to the
Moloch
question, though, how
spoke,
do
and
you
then
bring
Mammon,
back-
and then
specifically
Moloch,
bring
and
back
now we're back
jobs,
to
American manufacturers? How do you make
now
them
we're
better?
back
Hold on,
to
hold on. What are you watching then?
The debate.
We're watching
No,
it
where-
on NBC.
where?
On NBC.
I mean, there are thousands of them. They're leaving.
Yeah, do you have
and
a-
they're
do you have a
leaving
link?
in bigger numbers than ever.
It is helpful if I'm in
And
the same
what
feed you are.
is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck.
Otherwise, there'll be a lag.
You think you're going to make your air conditioners
So
or your
one of you
cars
copy and
or your
paste the link.
cookies or whatever you make
I did it.
and bring them
Okay.
into our country without a tax, you're
Cool.
wrong.
See that?
And once you say you're going to have to tax them coming coming in, and our politicians never.
All right, I got it.
And Data, this is Snake is Ninja is one of my close friends. So.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Hello, Distributed.
He's a fellow Catholic.
So what I'm saying is,
right now the score is Hillary Clinton 1, Donald Trump 1, Lester Holt 0.
Big factor.
Let Secretary Clinton get
Well,
there.
let's stop for a second and remember where we were 8 years ago. We had the worst financial crisis,
Hillary.
the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s.
I guess that's what $1 billion of
That
mortician
was
work
in
looks
large
like.
part because of tax policies.
How much do you think that
slashed
pantsuit cost
taxes
her?
on the wealthy,
You know, I think
failed to
she
invest
is
in the
so
middle
hopped
class,
up on
took their
everything to
eyes
suppress
off of Wall
costs
Street,
that they have
and created
in the
a
pharmacy.
perfect storm.
I mean,
in fact,
she just took
Donald was one of the
all
people
of it,
who rooted
basically.
for the housing crisis.
And so she's
He
got to have
said
so much
that
of
Oh,
that
wait,
in
she's going to make a really good
2006.
point.
Gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and
give
make
her a
some
point.
money. Well, it did
Oh,
collapse.
what did she say?
9 million people.
What'd she
9
say?
million people
What's the
lost
point
their
for?
jobs.
She blamed him for the housing
5 million
crisis.
people
Oh,
because he
lost
took
their
advantage
jobs.
of it.
Oh,
$1
yeah,
trillion
that definitely deserves
But then he
a
just
point.
said,
wealth
that's
was wiped
business.
out. Now,
That's
we
business.
have
Oh,
come
that is
back
definitely a
from
point
that
for Hillary.
abyss, and it has not been easy. So we're now on the precipice of
Look
having
at that
a
sneer.
potentially much
Matt,
better
you're right. He
economy,
does look
but
like
the
Clint
last
Eastwood.
thing we need to do
We
is
the
to
chair
go
back.
back to
He
the
looks like
policies
a cross
that
between
failed
Clint
us
Eastwood and
in the
Pepe.
first place. Independent
He does look
experts
like a
have looked
frog.
at what I've proposed.
I always
and
thought he
at
looked
what
like a
Donald's
Labrador.
proposed, and basically they've said this: that if his
Congratulations,
tax plan,
America. We're a post-racial
which would
society. That's
blow
why we're
up
electing
the
the two
debt
whitest
by
people
over
on the face of the
$5
earth.
trillion, and would, in some instances, disadvantage
In the movie
middle-class
version of this
families.
debate,
Speaking
the
of
best
that,
part
the
of the
Democrats
would
have
go
done a
into
pretty
effect.
good job with
We
it.
would
of
lose
Hillary's face.
3.5
Sorry,
million
what?
jobs. And maybe
In the movie
I
have a
said she's
version-
talking about the
recession.
debt, and the
They've looked
Democrats
at
have done
my
a great job
plans,
with
and they've
that
said,
so far.
Okay, if
Yeah,
we
but I
can
mean,
do
what did
this, and I
distributors say?
intend to get it done.
In the movie
We
version
will
of this
have
debate,
10
I think the
million
best
more
scene
new
will be the
jobs.
construction of
Because
Hillary
we will
Clinton's
be
face,
making
Miss Doubtfire
investments where
style.
We can grow the economy. Take clean energy. Some country is going to be the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. Donald thinks that climate change.
Why does
is
every argument
a
end in
hoax
global
perpetrated
warming?
By the Chinese. I think it's real.
I did
think
not.
Science is real.
I do not say that.
And I think
I
it's
do not
important
say
that we grip this and deal
All right,
with
give-
it.
put some
both at
sunglasses.
home
She just
and
said
abroad.
deal
Here's
with
what
it.
we can do. We can deploy 500 million more solar panels. We can have enough clean energy to power every home. We
You
can
know, I
build a
think
new
that was
modern
kind of
electric
neutral.
grid.
I don't think
That's
she
a lot of
actually
jobs.
slammed
That's a lot of new
Trump on
economic
global warming.
activity.
I think he,
so I've tried to
he's
be
going to
very
say, I do
specific
believe in global
about what
warming, and
we
he's going to
can
totally
and
support
should
the
do,
myth. So,
and I am determined
yeah, that's not.
that we're
That's
going
not
to
I
get
wish
the
Trump
economy
was more
really
boisterous
moving
right
again.
now. I know
Building
it's
on
the debate,
progress
but
we've made
that's
over
why
the last
people
8
like
years, but
him.
never
I don't
going
know.
back to what
It's
got
tough.
us in
he's trying to
trouble in the
look.
first place.
He's trying to
She
do the
talks
I'm
about
more
solar
presidential
panels.
thing.
We invested in a solar
He's trying to
company
sway
in
the
our country.
moderates
That
from
was a
the
disaster.
Wait,
They lost plenty of money on that one. Now, look, I'm a great believer in all forms of energy, but we're putting
I'm gonna have to
a lot
turn
of
off the
people out of work.
subtitles.
Our energy policies are a disaster. Our country is losing so much in terms of energy, in terms of paying off our debt. You can't do what you're looking to do with $20 trillion in debt. The Obama administration, from the time they've come in, is over 230 years worth of debt, and he's topped it. He's doubled it in a course of almost 8 years, 7.5 years to be semi-exact. So I will tell you this, we have to do a much better job at keeping our jobs.
Bring
And
up
we
the
have to
coal
do a
miners.
much better job at giving companies incentive to build new companies or to expand, because they're not doing it. And all you have to do is look at Michigan and look at Ohio and look at all of these places where so many of their jobs.
Let me
and
say the name of
companies
states
are
I
just
want
leaving.
to
They're
vote for me.
gone. And Hillary,
Yeah.
I just ask you this.
To be
You've
fair.
been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it.
God,
and
they
now
should have
you're
liquored
just
up before
starting
they
to
did
think of
this.
Solutions. I will bring. Excuse
Wait,
me.
you should have?
I will bring.
They
back
should have.
jobs.
Okay.
You can't
It was
bring.
way
back
too
jobs.
cerebral.
Actually,
And then they should have brought Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. They could be stoned out of their minds.
Yeah,
while they
who
do
would
it
have
as
thought
well.
that this
Well, not
debate
quite
would
that
be all
long.
intellectual?
I think my husband did a pretty good job in the 1990s. I think a lot about what worked and how we can make it work again.
Well, he approved
3 million
NAFTA.
new jobs.
He approved
a
NAFTA.
Oh, though this
balanced
does look
budget.
incredibly like a
Single-hand
puppet
strain
show,
beyond
doesn't
approved
it?
in this
Incomes
It is.
went up
You
You can
for
see the
everyone.
lines in Hillary Clinton's
Manufacturing jobs went
mouth,
up also
you know.
in the 1990s.
This is some
Now-
actual back and
Actually
forth,
gonna look at
and
the facts.
I'm really
When I was
impressed
in the
with
Senate,
Holt. He's staying
I
out
had
of this.
a number of trade deals that came
So
before
far,
me,
he's doing
and I held them all
everything
to the
right.
same
He's
test.
got a score of 0, like
Will
he
they
should.
create jobs in in America, Will they raise incomes in America? And are they good for our national security? Some of them I voted for. The biggest one, a multinational one known as CAFTA, I voted against. And because I hold
Did you vote for
the
it
same
before you voted
standards
against
as I
it?
look at all of these
Yes.
trade deals.
You lying
But
bitch.
Let's not assume that trade is the only challenge we have in the economy. I think it is a part of it, and I've said what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a special prosecutor. We're going to enforce the trade deals we have.
That doesn't sound
and we're going to hold
globalistic
people
at all,
accountable.
does
When
it?
I was Secretary of State,
No.
we actually increased American exports globally 30%. We increased them to China 50%. So I know how to really work to get new jobs and to get exports that help to create more new jobs.
Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well,
any number you
I've
want
been a senator.
You haven't
Donald,
done it.
And
You haven't
I
done
have
it.
been a
And excuse
Secretary
me,
of State, and I have
Your
done
husband signed
a lot.
NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened
Well,
to the
that's your
manufacturing.
Bill Clinton signed
You go to New
NAFTA?
England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country.
I love the
Now,
hyperbole.
You want to
Trump's
approve
back.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah.
You were
Tells the
totally
truth,
in favor of
lobbyists.
it. Then you
It
heard
is
about
glorious.
how bad it is, and you said
Look
at-
you
look at her
were
eye.
not
She's like-
but
she's
you know
really-
that if
I don't
you
know.
did win, you would approve that.
You see,
The
this is
algorithm
the
almost
Trump
as
that
bad
she's
as
afraid
NAFTA.
of. She's
Nothing
afraid
will
of him
ever
just
top NAFTA.
full on
That
attacking
is
her.
just
He can't be calm.
not
The
accurate.
algorithms have to
I,
restart in her head.
was against it
I think
once
that-
it
does
was
Trump
finally
deserve a point for that?
negotiated and
Yes.
the terms
That's
Yes.
were
a point.
laid
So
out.
now
I
it's
wrote
2
about
to
that
2.
in-
You called it the
I
gold
wrote about-
standard.
Well, I hope
You called it the gold standard of trade
And
deals. You
you know
said it's
what?
the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Yes.
Well, Donald,
See,
I
this
know
is
you
what
Oh,
a
Donald.
but
presidential
that is
He's
candidate
back.
would do,
the
you know?
facts. The fact
Yes,
that I did
that's
say
what I've been
I hoped
waiting
it would
for.
be
She just said,
a good
you live
deal,
in your
but
own
when it was
reality.
negotiated,
Not.
which I was not
I'm still not
responsible
voting
for,
for the guy, but
I concluded
I
it
do have to
wasn't.
say,
I wrote about
he
that.
So
does
is it
put on-
President
you gotta
Obama's
love it.
fault? Is it
Before
President
you
Obama's fault?
even
Just kiss
announce-
already.
Look, there are
Secretary,
different-
is it
there-
President
Oh my
Mommy,
God.
Daddy, please
there
stop
are
fighting.
Because he's
Throw
pushing
Obama under the
there
bus.
are
Do
different
it.
views about what's good for our country,
Oh,
our economy, and our leadership in the world.
Look at
And I
him.
think it's
Look at-
important
did you
to
see her
look
little
at what
eyebrow
we
thing
need
she
to
did?
do to get the economy going.
Oh,
She has
man.
That's why I
eyebrows?
said
She
new
did
jobs
the,
with rising incomes,
she did this
investments,
condescending,
not in more
like,
tax
I'm
cuts that would
talking
add
to a
$5
child
trillion
little
to
look
the
just
deficit.
now.
You have no
Wait.
plan.
Education.
Mr.
In
Secretary.
fact,
Oh, I
I
think he
have
just made the
no
loser
plan.
sign with his
It's
thumb
called
and
strong
forefinger.
Okay,
And
I'm
That's
sorry.
about
Trump's
and
been
the
keeping this
bookstore
up. He gets
or in
3
an
points.
airport near
I mean,
you.
We're going to move to
But
now it's
it's
2 to
because
Hillary
I say
Clinton
this, we
2,
need
Trump
to have
3.
strong growth, fair
My
She's
God.
like the little
sustained growth.
Energizer
We also
Bunny
have
wind-up
to
toy
look at
here.
how we
She's
help
just-
families balance.
Keeps on
No
going
response.
and going.
I wonder if somebody in the
and
audience is going to start
responsibilities
screaming,
of business.
"Keep your
So
hatred
we
off
have
this
a
campus."
Very robust set of plans, and people who have looked at both
Somebody
of
in
our
the
plans
chat thinks
have
that Trump
concluded
should have stopped.
That mine would create
I
10
don't.
million jobs, and yours would lose
Somebody in the
us
chat's
Oh, the hand
3.5
gestures.
million jobs
Low
and
energy.
You
exploit
are going
that
to
Oh, wait,
approve
he's gonna talk
one
about
of the
TPP.
biggest tax
Have
cuts
a
in
recession.
history. You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history. You are going to drive business out. Your regulations are a disaster, and you're going to increase regulations all over the place. And by the way, my tax
I
cut
noticed
is
there
the
were
biggest
no
since Ronald
specifics in
Reagan. I'm
that. It
very
was all
proud of it.
general.
See, look at
It will create
the
tremendous numbers of new
algorithms. She has to
jobs.
restart the
But
algorithms to figure out how to
regulations, you are
respond.
going
It
to
does look like a
regulate
robot
these
while she's
businesses
watching
out of
him. That's
existence.
funny.
Not as
When
much
I
as
go
Rubio,
around,
but-
Lester, I tell you this, I've been all over. And when I go around, despite the tax cut, the things
I
that
think
business
Trump
as
is
in
winning
people
this.
like the most
Yeah.
is the fact that I'm
I
cutting
predicted that
regulation. You
he
have
would, and I think
regulations
he
on
will
top of
because
regulations, and new
he's
companies
not good
cannot
at like
form,
well
and
thought
old
out
companies
planned
are going out of
speeches, but
business,
he's
and
very
you
good at
wanna
being
increase the
adaptable. I think that's
regulations
where
and
he's
make them
going to
even
beat her.
worse. I'm going to cut regulations,
Yeah.
but I'm going to cut taxes big league, and you're going to raise taxes big league. End of story.
Let me get you to pause right there because we're going to
Yes,
move into
well,
the we're going to
that-
move into
Oh,
the
no, Hillary.
Okay.
I have to go another monologue.
Now,
She's
after-
even dressed like the
I
devil.
assumed that there would be a lot of these charges and
Well, it's sad that Hillary
Did,
was
did Hillary
I think
just
the
shout
homepage of
down
my website,
Lester Holt?
HillaryClinton.com, and we
Yes.
turned it into a
Wow.
The Energizer Bunny
So if
keeps
you wanna
on
see in
going.
real
Lester
time,
Holt
what
let
the
her do
facts are,
that?
please go and take a look. Because
Man, she's
Take a
high
look
as a
at mine
kite.
also, and you'll see.
Does that mean Lester Holt gets
-1
points?
plans would add $5
Yes.
trillion
I put him down
to
for
the debt.
that.
What I have
gets
proposed
-1
would
points.
cut regulations
Dun, dun,
and
dun, dun.
streamline them
Wow.
He's got a
for
one-way
small
ticket to
businesses.
Kakistan, man.
What I have proposed
He's gonna see
would
his
be
wife's
paid
son
for
and
by
Data all right
raising
confirmed.
taxes on the wealthy because they have made all
Oh,
the
the
gains
alt-right-
in
the
the
alt-right
economy.
wishes.
And I think it's time that
I mean,
the
hey,
wealthy
its head is
corporations
Milo
paid
and
their
Pepe
fair
the
share to
Frog,
support
right?
Well, you just opened the next segment.
Well, look, could I just finish? I think I should.
You go to
Milo is
her
not
website.
actually a
We're
member
gonna
of the
take a
Look
look
at her
segment.
website. She's
It's
going to
on-
raise taxes.
over a million people are
$1.3
watching this single
trillion.
one right
And
now.
look at her website.
Not
You know
ours,
what? It's
but-
no different than this.
Yeah,
She's telling
the
us how
one
to
I'm
fight
ripping
ISIS.
off.
Just
I'm
go
probably
to her
gonna get a
website. She tells you how to fight
copyright strike or
ISIS on her
whatever for this,
website.
but
I
whatever.
don't think General Douglas MacArthur.
Oh,
would
he
like
brought
that.
up Douglas MacArthur. Yeah.
The next
Oh,
segment,
that's
we'll
another
continue
point
with
for
the
Trump.
At
subject
least I
of,
have a plan to fight
achieving
ISIS.
prosperity.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
We
No
are
wonder you've been
outlining-
fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS. Your
Oh man.
What?
Go to the
What?
please, the fact checkers. Get to
Okay,
work.
you are unpacking a lot here, and we're still in the issue of
she's
achieving
telling her
prosperity.
minions,
And I
the
wanna
mainstream
talk
media,
about taxes.
she's sending
The
out her
fundamental
flying
difference
monkeys
between the two
to
of you
put
concerns the wealthy.
Trump is lying,
Secretary
Trump is
Clinton,
lying
you're
on the
calling for
ticker
a
at the
tax
bottom of the
Trump is
increase
a
for the
racist.
wealthiest Americans. I'd like you to further defend that. And Mr. Trump, you're calling for tax cuts for the wealthy. I'd like you to defend that. And this next 2-minute answer goes to you, Mr. Trump.
Well, I'm really calling for major jobs because the
Major
wealthy
Jobs?
are
Is he
going to
with Colonel
create
Chuck?
tremendous jobs. They're going to expand their companies.
Yeah, I
They're
was
gonna do a
thinking Major
tremendous
Jobs
job.
was like
I'm
with
getting rid of the
general
carried
economy
interest
or
provision, and if you really
general
look, it's
education.
not-
Military
it's
intel-
really not-
military
He's
intelligence.
general welfare is.
That's it, general welfare.
It's a
That was
great thing
the
for
that was the
companies to
general I was
expand.
thinking of.
And when these people are going
Major
to put
Jobs
billions
works for
and
general
billions of
welfare.
dollars into
Yes.
companies, and when they're going to bring $2.5 trillion back from overseas, where they can't bring the money back because politicians like Secretary Clinton won't allow them to bring
Yes,
the money
blame
back because
Clinton
the
for
taxes are so
everything ever
onerous
done by the
and
entire
bureaucratic red
political
tape.
class.
So what is so bad? So what they're
Well, that's
doing
actually
is
a good
they're
idea.
leaving our
Yeah, I would
country,
do that if I were
and
him.
Believe it or not,
Yeah.
leaving because taxes are too
Hey,
high,
they're
and because some of them
imagine.
have lots
Think
of
of all the
money
things they've said
outside
about him.
the country, and instead of bringing it back
Yeah.
and putting the money to work because they can't work out a deal to, and everybody agrees it should be brought back. Instead
Someone
of
in
that,
the chat
they're
says that
leaving
Trump
our
actually was
country
in the
to
army.
get their money because they can't.
He
bring
dropped
their
out. He was
money
in the
back into
military
our country
academy as a young
because of
kid,
bureaucratic
but he didn't really. He
red
kind of
tape,
dropped out.
because they can't get
Yeah.
together. Because we have a president
I think
that
Bill
can't
Clinton
sit
was
them
in the
around
Cub
the
Scouts
table
and he dropped
and
out.
get them to achieve something. And here's the thing.
It was too hard for.
Republicans and
He was
Democrats
trying to get into the
agree
Girl
that this should be
Scouts.
done. $2.5 trillion. I happen to think it's double that. It's probably $5 trillion that we can't bring into our country, Lester. And with a little leadership, you'd get it in here very quickly, and it could be put to use on the inner cities and lots of other things.
Oh, they disabled
and
the
it would
chat
be
for the
beautiful.
live
But
stream.
we have no
Yeah, so I've
leadership.
got our chat
and
up
honestly,
there.
that starts with Secretary
I think that
Clinton.
might have been why they
All right,
closed
you have 2
down
minutes
that
on the same
first
question to
stream
Because
defend
you had
were looking at.
swastikas in the alt-right going on there.
Secretary Clinton.
I have a feeling by
great.
the end of this evening I'm going to be blamed for
I mean, I'm
everything
totally
that's
against
ever
Nazis
happened.
and
Why
swastikas and all
not?
that, but it
Yeah,
was
why
funny
not?
that it shows up on the online.
You know, just
You know they do it
join
just to get a
the-
rise
join
out of
the
people,
debate
so it's just
by,
like, don't
saying
ever
more
change
crazy
internet.
things. Now, let me say
Hey, there's
this.
nothing
Wait.
crazy
Is
about not letting our
absolutely the
companies
case.
bring their money
Oh
Get
man,
back into their
this is
country.
so
This
going
is
to be
Secretary
a
Clinton's 2
great
minutes.
songify the news
Yeah, well,
tomorrow.
let's start the clock again, Lester. We've looked at your tax proposals. I don't see
telling
changes in
the
the
moderator
corporate
what
tax
to do.
rates or the
She's
kinds
like
of
giving
proposals
instructions
you're
to the guy,
referring
like
to that
he's her
will cause the
subordinate.
repatriation.
Guys,
bringing
I think
back of
the uppers are
money
kind
that's
of wearing
stranded
thin on
overseas. I happen
Hillary's
to
bloodstream
support
there.
that. I happen to support that in a way that will actually work to our benefit. But when I look at what you have proposed, you have what is called
at
now the
Trump's
Trump
little
loophole,
American tie,
because it would
an
so
American flag
advantage
tie
you
pin.
and the
She doesn't
business
have
you
one.
do. You've
She doesn't have one.
proposed
Who gave it that
an
name?
approach
First
that
ever. Who
has
gave
a
it that
$4
name?
This is
billion
Secretary Clinton's 2
tax
minutes.
benefit for your
Oh,
family. And
that-
when you look
I'm
at
sorry, that
what you
gives
are
him a
How much
point.
for my
proposing,
family?
it
What did he say?
is,
Lester, how much?
as I said,
The
trumped
moderator
up,
actually shut
trickle
down, tried to shut down down Trump.
down did not
And he didn't
work.
let him?
It got us into the mess we were in 2008
She said trumped up again.
and 9.
She did?
Slashing taxes on the wealthy hasn't worked. And a lot of really smart, wealthy people know that. And they are saying, hey, We need to do more to make
I don't know
the
if she gets a point
contributions
for
we
that.
should
It
be
went by
making
so fast,
to
and she
rebuild
already
the
said
middle
Trump
class.
up once
I don't
before.
think top-down works in
No,
America.
yeah, you shouldn't do it
I think
twice.
building the middle class, investing
But
in the middle
Lester
class,
Holt's back at 0
making
points because he
college
actually
debt-free
did
so
shut
more
down
young
Trump
people
just
can
now.
get their education, helping people refinance their
earned his negative point back.
their debt from college at a lower rate. Those are the kinds of things that will really
Well, he's
boost
Hillary's
the
attack dog.
economy.
What else do you expect?
Broad-based,
Everyone is
inclusive
Hillary's
growth
attack
is
dog.
what we need in America, not more
So he gets
advantages
-5 by
for
default.
people at the very top.
Mr.
Like
Trump,
Hillary
Typical
Clinton.
politician, all talk, no action, sounds good,
Sophistry.
doesn't work, never going to happen.
Who?
Our country is suffering
They're
because
both
people
sophists.
like Secretary Clinton have made such bad decisions in terms of our jobs and in terms of what's going on. Now, look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression.
She's
And
rolling her
believe
eyes
me,
at him.
We're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come
Wow,
crashing
that's actually
down.
right.
We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble. And we better be awfully careful. And we have a Fed that's doing political things. This Janet Yellen of the Fed. The Fed is doing political by keeping the interest rates at this level. And believe me, the day Obama goes off and he leaves and he goes out to the golf course for the rest of his life to play golf,
Okay,
raise
that
interest
gives Trump a
rates,
point.
you're going to see some very bad things happen because the Fed is not doing their job. The Fed is being more
I don't
political.
like how many points I
than
keep having to give
Secretary
Trump, but
Clinton.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Trump, we're talking about the burden that Americans have to pay, yet you have not released your tax returns. And the reason nominees have released their returns for
Leslie Hall.
decades is
So
that
does
voters
anyone actually
will
believe that this
know
moderator
if their
doesn't
potential
hate
president
Trump?
owes money to,
No.
who owes it to.
Well, I'm giving him a
business
score, and so
conflicts.
far
don't
he's-
Americans have
he's
a right
got
to know if
1
there are any
point.
conflicts of interest?
I don't mind releasing. I'm under a routine audit, and it'll be released. And as soon as the audit's finished, it'll be released. But you will learn more about Donald Trump by going down to the federal elections, where I filed a 104-page, essentially financial statement of sorts, the forms that they have. It shows income. In fact, the income, I just looked today, the income is filed at $694 million for this past year. $694 million. If you would have told me I was going to make that 15 or 20 years ago, I would have been very surprised. But that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. When we have a country that's doing so badly,
He's turning
that's being
his
ripped
being
off
super
by
rich
every
into a
single
good thing.
country in the world.
I
That's
think
smart.
that's another
Exactly.
point. I
that
think
our
that's another
country needs,
Trump
because
point.
everybody,
And
Lester,
I
we
want
have
to
a
stress
trade
to
deficit
my audience
with all
on my
of the
channel, I
countries that
do
we do
not
business
support
with
Trump.
of
I
almost
don't think I'm voting
$800
for him.
billion
But
a
I
year.
have to
You
say
know what
he
that
is doing a lot
That means
better in the
who's
debate than the
negotiating
other
these
two
trade deals?
candidates.
We have people that are political hacks negotiating our trade deals.
Who's the
Excuse me.
other one? The third? Is it Harambe?
No,
Moderator.
it's Lester Holt.
No, it's Leslie Jones.
So the question, does the public's right
It's
to
Lester
know
Holt.
outweigh your personal...
Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit. Look, I've been under audit almost for 15 years. I know a lot of wealthy people that have never been audited. I said, do you get audited? I get audited almost every year. And in a way,
Oh, yeah,
I should
well,
be complaining. I'm not even
They're
complaining.
asking the
I
other
don't
two.
mind
There
it.
are
It's
3
almost become a
candidates
way of
on
life. I
the
get
stage
audited by
tonight.
the
There's
IRS.
Hillary
But
Clinton,
other
Donald
people
Trump,
don't.
and Lester
I will
Holt.
say this. We
Who is
have
Lester Holt,
a
though? You're just
situation
trying to
in
explain
this
who he
country
is.
He's from the
that
Moderator
has to
Party.
be taken care of.
Ah.
I will release my tax returns against
They mostly
my
do whatever the
lawyer's
Democrats
wishes.
tell them to do.
When she releases her 33,000 emails
Yes!
that have been
Yes,
deleted,
give him a point.
as soon as she
And her Goldman
releases
Sachs
them,
speeches, for
I
the love
will
of God.
release. I will release.
Oh,
Did
wow.
you hear that?
The
Applause,
audience,
baby.
the audience
That's
is
against
going nuts
my
for
lawyers,
that.
They say don't do it.
Nice.
I will tell
2
you this.
points.
No, in fact, watching.
Yeah, I guess he does get another
shows,
point.
reading
He got
the
a rise out of the audience.
Almost every lawyer says you don't release
That-
your returns
that's a
until the
point.
audit's complete. When the audit's complete, I'll do it. But I would go against them
This is
if she
not gonna
releases
stop.
her
So it's negotiable?
It's not negotiable. No, let her release the email. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her ask that, but let me just
I'm just
admonish
shocked
the audience
reading
one more time.
sentences
There
in
was an
English,
agreement.
says
We
the
did ask
chat.
you to be silent, so it would be helpful
Let me
for us.
admonish the
Secretary
audience
Clinton.
for
He's telling
Well,
the
I
audience.
think you've
oh,
just
that's
seen
another
another
point for
example
him.
of bait and switch
Well,
here.
no, that's part of the
I'm
moderator
gonna
doing
try
his
and
job.
defend the
He
For
doesn't get a
40
point for
years,
that.
everyone running for president has released their tax returns. You can go and see nearly, I think, 39, 40 years
I
of
the
their
only-
tax returns, but everyone
What the
has
hell
done
was
it.
that?
Who
We know
sees
the
this as
IRS
like
has made clear
You see
that
the
there's
problem problem with her
Commission
strategy
on releasing
is
it
that
when
the
you're
average
under
person
audit. So you've
doesn't
got to
care
ask
about his
yourself,
tax returns. They care about what they're
won't
going to
he
do.
release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons.
Actually,
First, maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Second, maybe he's
yeah,
not
I
as
think she does get a
charitable as he
point for
claims
this
to be.
because
Third,
No, this is making
we
it.
don't know all of his business dealings, but
she's
we
making
have
him
been
look
told through
untrustworthy
investigative
here.
reporting
And
that
people who are
he
even
owes about
slightly
$650 million
suspicious
to Wall
of Trump
Street and
are
foreign
going to have
banks.
their suspicion.
Or maybe he doesn't want the American
cranked up
people,
by
all of
this.
you watching tonight,
So,
to know
yeah,
that he's
I'm
paid
sorry. She does get a point
nothing
for
in
that.
federal taxes, because the only years
She's not-
that
she
anybody's
needs
ever
to grill her
seen
more on her
were a
emails,
couple
though.
of years when he had to
Yeah,
turn them over
that's
to state
if her- if
authorities
she-
when he was
if
trying
she
to get a
flubs the
casino
response on the
license, and they
emails
showed
question, then
he
she
didn't
She's not
pay
going to
his
answer that.
federal
She's
income
going to do everything
tax.
she can not
So
to actually.
if
She's
he's
going to try and.
paid zero. That means zero
She's going to try and
for
divert
troops,
away from that
zero
question because
for
she
vets,
can't answer that.
Zero for schools or health. And I think probably he's not all that enthusiastic about having the rest of our country see what the real reasons are, because it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And the financial
He's holding a giant
disclosure
dragon in his
statement,
dungeon.
They don't give you the tax rate. They don't give you all the details that tax
Is it made out of
returns
orphan meat?
would.
Thank you for
And it
assuming
just
that he
seems
did
to
something
me
Made
bad
out of
with no
Syrian
proof.
this is
refugee
something that
meat.
the American people deserve to see, and I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns, because there's something he's hiding. And we'll guess. We'll keep guessing at what.
Believe me,
God knows,
I
no one
have
has
been
any
wrong.
But I
hide
think
here.
the question is, were he ever to get near the White House, what would be those conflicts?
Oh my God.
Who does he owe money to? Well,
Conflicts of interest.
He owes you the answers to that, and he should provide them.
He also raised the issue of your emails. Do you want to
Point from
respond to that?
Moderator.
I do. You know, I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently. But I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I take responsibility for that.
No, you didn't.
Jail time.
Take responsibility as in going to
That was
jail.
more than a mistake. That was done.
Thank
purposely.
you,
Okay, that was not a
Trump.
mistake. That was done purposely. When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth,
Let me listen.
I think it's disgraceful. And believe me, this country thinks it's disgraceful. It really thinks it's disgraceful also. As far as my tax
Two
returns,
flubs in a row.
you don't learn that much from tax returns, that I can tell you. You learn a lot from financial disclosure. And you should go down and take a look at that. The other thing,
I
I'm
think he
extremely
loses the point for all those
underleveraged.
flubs just
The
now.
report that said
Oh, God,
650,
yeah, he
which,
totally
by the way,
missed
a lot
this.
of friends of mine that know my business
should have
said,
kept it on
"Boy,
her
that's really
as
not a lot
opposed
of
to
money. It's not a lot of
apologizing
money
for his own
relative to
stuff."
what I had." The buildings that were in question, they said in the same report, which was actually, it wasn't even a bad story, to be honest with you,
NBC
but the
seems to be having
buildings are
some
worth
technical
$3.9
problems.
billion.
What do you mean?
And the 650 isn't even on that.
Just
but it's not 650.
their
it's
audio
much less
flubbed out
than
for a
that.
second.
But I could give you a list of banks. I would, if that would help you, I would give you a list of banks. These are very fine institutions, very fine banks. I could do that very quickly. I am very underleveraged. I have a great company. I have a tremendous income. And the reason I say that is not in a braggadocious way.
oh, man, it's
because
completely cutting out
about
now.
Time that this
It is?
country
It works-
had
it's fine for
somebody
me.
running
It's fine.
it
Fine
that
for me,
has
too.
an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt and our country's a mess. You know, it's one thing to have $20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are
Are the
good.
color
and everything's
reversals,
in great shape.
intentional?
Our airports are like from a third
What do you mean?
world country.
Well,
Oh, she's
You
wearing red,
LaGuardia,
he's wearing blue?
You landed
Yeah.
Kennedy, you landed
No.
LAX. You
She's just
landed
dressed like the
Newark.
devil.
And you come in from
I was thinking more
Dubai and
tomato,
Qatar,
but-
and you see these incredible. You
Well,
come in
yeah,
from
it's-
China.
it's-
you see
it's-
these
it's so that
incredible airports.
the Rotten
And you
Tomatoes
land,
can't be seen.
We've become a third world country.
He's still talking.
So,
He
the
loses
worst
a point.
of all things has happened. We owe $20 trillion.
Yeah,
and
he's
we're
wandering.
a mess.
That's-
we
that's-
haven't even
that's
started.
that's another point
And we've
off
spent
of-
Shut up, Trump, just shut up.
$6
He's
in the
going
Middle
on too
East,
long.
according to a report that I just saw. Whether it's 6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. And it's really a shame. And it's politicians like Secretary Clinton that have caused this problem. Our country has tremendous problems. We're a debtor nation. We're a serious debtor nation. And we have a country that needs new roads, new tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals. And we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
Ooh, that was
And maybe
actually
it's because you haven't paid any federal income
that
tax for a
that
lot
was
of
okay.
years. And
I
the
don't think
other
he gets a
thing
point
I
back,
think
though.
is important
It
to
would be
point out
squandered too,
is
believe me.
If
Believe me.
if your main claim to be president of the United States is your business, then I think we should talk about that.
Oh no.
You know, your campaign manager said that you built a lot of businesses on the backs of little guys.
You mean gave
And
them
indeed,
jobs?
I have met a lot of the people who were stiffed.
I
by
think
you
she
and
means
your
Smurfs.
businesses,
Creating
Donald.
new jobs was
I've met
Obama's thing, but now it's a bad thing
dishwashers,
apparently.
Painters,
I found out it wasn't NBC
architects,
having the problem. It was
glass
my
installers,
headphones.
marble installers,
George Soros
drapery
did it.
installers, like my dad was, who you refused to pay when they finished the work that you asked them to do. We have an architect in the audience who designed one of your clubhouses at one of your
It
golf
was in a
courses.
tree. It said no girls allowed.
It's a beautiful facility. It immediately was put to use, and you wouldn't pay what the man
Does Clinton get a
needed
point
to
for
be
this, you
paid,
think?
what he was charging.
I
Maybe
guess.
he didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
It's the dirt thing
Satisfied
everybody
with
knows
his
about,
work.
but I guess
Which our country should do
to the
too.
thousands of people that you have stiffed over the course of your business.
Trump or Hillary
not
gets a point
deserve
for this.
Some kind
Oh, he
of
actually looks like he
apology from someone who has taken
will
their
never
labor,
recover.
taken the goods that they produce.
What, you think-
and then
you think
refused
he's
to pay
knocked
them.
out?
I can only
I
say
don't.
that I'm
I'm
certainly
just kidding.
relieved that my late father never did business
You
with
just
you.
say that everything
He
she says
provided
is
a
a
good
lie.
middle-class life
That's
for us,
the
but
line,
that's
right?
all he
He's gotta
worked
say
for.
is it's
He
all a lie.
expected the
Lie,
bargain
lie,
to be
lie,
kept
lie.
on both
Or just say
sides.
that, you know, she's
And
basically done it a
when
million
we
times
talk
worse than
about
me.
Your business,
Yeah,
you've taken business bankruptcy
two
6
quo
times.
is what he needs.
There are a lot of great business people that have never taken bankruptcy once. You call yourself the king of debt. You talk about leverage. You even at one time suggested that you would try to negotiate down the national debt of the United States. Well, sometimes there's not a direct transfer of skills from business to government, but sometimes what happened in business would be
those who
really
can't
bad
do
for government.
govern.
That's what Mr.
And we
Trump
need
said.
So, yeah, I
to
think
be
it's- I
very
do think
clear
it's
about that.
Look, it's all words. It's all sound bites. I built an unbelievable company. Some of the greatest
he might have called it
assets
data.
anywhere in the world, real estate assets anywhere in the world, beyond.
This is
the
why
United
he has the
States, in Europe,
advantage.
lots of different places. It's an unbelievable company. But on occasion, 4 times, we used certain laws that are there. And when Secretary Clinton talks about people that didn't get paid, first of all, they did get paid a lot, but taking advantage of the laws of the nation. Now, if you want to change the laws, you've been there a long time, change the laws. But I take advantage of the laws of the nation because I'm running a company. My obligation right now is to do well for myself, my family, my employees, for my companies. And that's what I do. But what she doesn't say is the tens of thousands of people that are unbelievably happy and that love me. I'll give you an example.
Everybody
opening
loves
up
me.
on
The Hispanics, the
Pennsylvania
evangelicals.
Avenue, right next to the White House.
Milo loves
So if I
me.
don't get
That's
there
all that
one
really
way,
matters.
Milo's
I'm
in
gonna
the
get to
audience. Let's bring him
Pennsylvania
on.
Avenue, nothing. But we're opening.
I'm so missing
the
Milo
post
on Twitter
office.
tonight.
Under budget.
I know.
Well,
ahead of
he's
schedule,
live streaming too.
Saved tremendous money.
We're competing with
I'm a
him,
year
actually.
ahead
I
of
believe he
schedule,
ended his live
and
stream.
that's what this
Oh,
country should be
awesome.
doing. We
So
build roads and they
we
cost
were
2
so
and 3
awesome,
and
we
4
stole
times
all
what
of
they're
his
supposed to
viewers and
cost.
listeners, I'm
we
sure.
buy
I
products
think it
people
was
are
kind
watching
of
this?
preview to the debate
that
thing.
are so
If somebody
far
could
above
check
what
how
they
many
were
people
supposed
are
to be
watching
because
this, I'd appreciate
we
it.
don't have people that know what they're doing. When we look at the budget is bad to a large extent because
I'll
we
check.
have people that have no idea as to what to do and how to buy. The Trump International
Got
is
5 people
way
watching.
under budget and
Yeah,
way
that's
ahead
about
of
what I
schedule.
expected,
And
somewhere
we
around
should
there.
be able to do that for our
The debate has
work.
100 as
Schedule. So I wanna
1.17
move to our
million
next
people.
segment. We move into
Real
our next
good
segment
comparison
talking about
right there.
America's direction, and let's start by talking
He
about
cycles between
race.
3
Why are you
unbelievable
talking about
Americans who
race?
say relations
What
are
did he-
bad in this country.
Oh,
It's the highest
yeah.
it's been in decades.
Time for race.
Much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans
Oh,
by
God.
police.
Are we really
Here we
doing
go.
this?
In
He
Charlotte,
didn't do
we are.
nothing.
We're really doing this.
Race has been a
He
big
didn't
issue
do
in this
nothing.
campaign, and one of you is going to
He
have
had
to bridge
Skittles.
a very wide and
We
bitter
was
gap.
kings.
So how do
One
you
of
heal
you-
the divide?
one
So
of
if it's Clinton,
you-
you get 2 minutes on this.
Oh wait, I know.
Well,
he
you're
means
right.
the winner. Okay, I thought he
Race
meant.
remains.
Yeah, he means the
a
winner. So
Wait,
it
what?
could be either one.
Let's see how much.
challenge in our
Let's see how
country.
progressive she is.
Unfortunately, race still determines too much. Often determines
Who can get
where
into
people
college.
live, determines
That's a
what
two
kind of education
for that's
in their
2
public
points
schools
for
they
Holt.
can get, and yes,
Holt
it
gets a 2
determines
just
how they're
for
treated
this
in the
stupid
criminal
question.
justice system. We've just seen those 2 tragic
question was so
examples in both
predictable.
Tulsa and Charlotte.
That
we've
question
gotta
had
do
no
several
business being in the
things
debate.
at the same
He gets a
Yeah,
point
you're
for
right.
that.
We have to
Well, yeah.
restore
I mean,
trust.
I would have been surprised if it wasn't in the debate personally, because everybody's
communities
ranting
and
about it
the
on social
police.
media.
We have to work to make
Just
sure
the way
that
he
our
brought it up
police
was
are using
that
the
was
best
that
training,
was over the line.
best
What does this
that they're
moderator
well
look like anyway?
prepared
He looks
to
like
use
a brown
force
turtle.
only when necessary.
I'm telling you, man, this debate all makes
Everyone
sense
should
as a
be
larger
respected by
narrative
the
on,
law, everyone
Holt's life.
should respect the law.
It's just gonna zoom out
Right
at the
now,
end of
that's
the
not the
debate.
case
He's gonna be
in a
like,
lot of our
"I'm a
neighborhoods.
tool."
So I have, ever
I
since
vaguely
the first
remember
day
him
of
on
the
Warehouse
campaign called
13,
for
I
criminal
think.
justice reform. I've laid
So
out
you're saying
a
this is like a
platform
major
that
example
I
of
think
Sargon's
would
law going
begin
on?
to remedy some of the problems
I'm
we
curious
have in
to
the
see
criminal
how
justice system.
Trump's going to respond to
We
this.
also have to recognize, in
He
addition
looks
to
very
the
sad. Look at him,
challenges
his
that we
sad
face with
Trump
policing,
face.
there are so many
I wonder
great
if the whole-
police
I wonder if
There are
she's
a lot
gonna
of
check-
ways he
who
could
He looks
equally
like
want
he's
to
taking
reform.
this very
So we have to
seriously.
bring communities together in order
He's
to
drawing a
begin
little
working
picture
on
of
that
her.
as a mutual goal. And we've got to get guns out of the hands of people who
She's
should
breathing
not have
fire
them.
and looks like a dragon.
The gun epidemic.
And he's drawn himself with a little sword.
What do I do,
of
bro?
Young African American men, more than the next
He's tweeting
9
right now.
causes put together.
That would be amazing.
He's on his
Two
phone,
things, as I said.
tweeting
we have
more
to restore
Pepes.
trust. We have to work with
Get
the
a load of
police.
this, guys.
We have to make sure they respect the communities and the communities respect them. And we have to tackle the plague of gun violence, which
Guns,
is a big
here it is.
contributor
Oh, I thought it was
to a lot
cyber
of the
violence
problems
that was
that
the
we're
problem.
seeing today.
I guess,
All right, Mr.
I guess
Trump, you have 2 minutes.
I
How
guess
do
you
you
need
heal the
guns.
divide?
I want to
First of
listen
all,
to this.
Secretary Clinton doesn't want to use a couple of words, and that's law and order. We need law and
Oh,
order.
snap.
If we don't
That's
have
a
it,
point for Trump right
we're not going to
there.
have a country. And when I look at what's going on in Charlotte, a city I love, a city where I have investments, when I
My
look
investments
at
are
what's
in
going on
flames.
throughout various parts of our country, whether it's, I mean, I can just keep naming them all day long. We need law and order in our country. And I just got today as you know, the
Frog
endorsement
lives
of
matter.
the Fraternal Order of
He
Police.
keeps
We
it simple.
just
He
came in.
doesn't get trapped
We
in
have
those little,
endorsements from
all the
I
little
think
rabbit
almost
holes you could
every
go down.
Police group, a large percentage of them in the United States. We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because
About
it's so
at the halfway
dangerous.
point.
You walk down the street, you get shot.
And Hillary's
in
got
Chicago,
4.
they've had
Lester Holt's got
thousands
2.
of shootings.
Trump's got
thousands
6.
since January 1st. Thousands of shootings. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this a war-torn country? What are we doing? And we have to stop the violence. We have to bring back law and order. In a place like Chicago, where thousands of people have been killed, thousands over the last number of years. In fact, almost 4,000 have been killed since Barack Obama became president. Almost 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York. It brought the crime rate way down. But you take the gun away from criminals that shouldn't be having it. We have gangs roaming the street, and in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants.
Of
and they have
course.
guns, and they
Build
shoot
a
people.
wall.
And we have to be very strong, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to know what we're doing. Right now, our police, in many cases, are afraid to do anything. We have to protect our inner cities because African American communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York because it largely singled out
Okay, Leslie
black
Holt
and
or
Hispanic
Lester
young
Holt
men.
definitely
you're
gets a
wrong.
point for that.
It went before a
I'd like to
judge
remind
who was
the.
a very
Oh wait, let's
against
listen to Trump.
police judge. It was taken away from her, and our new mayor, refused to go forward with the case. They would have won an appeal. If you look at it throughout the country,
Anybody
there
ever
are
try and
many
translate what
places-
his hands movements mean?
It's a form of racial profiling.
No, the argument is that we have to take the
Now,
guns away from these
that's
people
another
that have
point
them,
for
and that are
Holt.
bad people that shouldn't have them. These
Holt
are
has as many
felons. These
points
are
as
people
Clinton
that
at
are
this
bad
point.
people
This is
that
not
should
good,
be-
right?
When you have 3,000 shootings,
What?
I think the audience
define
will
good as opposed to
recognize
bad.
how
When you
the
have
moderator
4,000
is
people
on her
killed
side, though,
in Chicago
and they'll
by
feel
guns
sort of like he's
from
the
the
underdog.
beginning
Yes.
of the presidency
Yeah.
of Barack Obama, his hometown.
And
You have to
every
have
time the
something
moderator
first.
does that,
You need
he
more
gets a
police.
point. He should have
You
0.
need a
He has
better
4 at
community,
this point.
Relation.
That's
you
after
don't
losing
have good
one.
community relations in
Yeah.
Chicago. It's
Yeah.
terrible. I have property there. It's terrible what's going on in Chicago. But when you look, and Chicago's not the only. You go to Ferguson. You go to so many different places. You need better relationships. I agree with Secretary Clinton on this. You need better relationships.
I
Between
could
the
barely
communities and
utter
the
her
police,
name.
because in some cases it's not good.
Larry
Look at
Glendon.
Dallas, where the relationships were really studied. The relationships were really a beautiful thing. And then 5 police officers were
And then
killed
everything changed when the Fire
one
Nation
night
attacked.
very violently.
This is a better debate.
So
Holt
there's
versus
some bad
Trump.
things
says the
going on,
chat.
some
And
really
yeah.
bad things.
Secretary Clinton,
But we
go ahead.
need, Lester, we need law and order. And we need law and order
SVU.
in the inner cities, because the people that are most affected by what's happening are African American and Hispanic people. And it's very unfair to them what our politicians are
Oh,
allowing
my little
to
brother's
happen.
on.
Secretary Clinton.
Well,
Oh, cool.
I've heard Donald say this at his rallies, and it's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire negative picture of
That's what you do all the time.
communities.
Right. I mean, they're burning
You know,
stuff
the
in
vibrancy
writing
of the
because
black
there's a
church,
It's unfortunate that you paint
black
a negative
businesses
picture.
that
You know,
employ so
not
many
unfortunate that people are dying. Who cares?
opportunities
But that we
so many
can-
families
Do you
are
think
forced
she
to
loses a
provide
point
for
over
their
this?
kids.
No.
Okay.
There's a lot that we should
Yeah, I
be
guess
proud
not.
of,
But
and we
still,
should
that
be
was pretty
supporting and
lame.
lifting up.
that was
But we
awful.
do always have to make sure we keep people safe. There are the right ways of doing it, and then
there's
there are
Hillary's
ways
way.
that are
Oh,
ineffective.
she's on a
Stop and
first name
frisk
basis.
was
She just
found
calls
to be
him Donald. He
unconstitutional.
always calls her
And
Secretary
in part
Clinton. And he
because it
checked
was
with her to make
ineffective.
sure that was okay.
It did not
He's a cuck.
do
No,
what it
wait.
needed to
Ugh.
do. Now,
You
I
could never
believe
say
in
he was.
community policing, and in fact, violent crime is 1/2 of what it was in 1991. Property crime is down
she
40%.
gets a point for this.
Yeah.
We just don't want to see it creep back up.
Point for
We've
Hillary.
had 25 years of very good cooperation, but there were some problems, some unintended consequences. Too many young African American and Latino men ended up in jail for
I suppose I shouldn't
nonviolent
be
offenses.
surprised that she's
And
going
it's
from
just
this
a
narrative.
fact that if you're a young African American man and you do the same
to call-
thing
You're
as a
welcome at
young white
Milo's
man,
house.
you are more likely to be arrested.
I was going to say, if you're a young
charged,
African American
convicted,
man,
and
you're
incarcerated.
still a man and
So
therefore
we've
part of the
got to address
patriarchy.
the systemic
So fuck you.
racism in
Sorry.
our criminal justice
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
We
Watch the
cannot
language,
just say
please.
law and order. We have to say we have to come forward with a plan.
Law and
that
order
is
for
going
white
to
people, but not for black.
divert people from the criminal justice system. Deal with mandatory minimum sentences, which have put too many people away for too long for doing too little. We need to have
yeah,
more
you need to
second
be in
chance
there.
programs.
I'm sorry,
Because the
that's
real
another
victims
point for
here
Clinton.
are the
Ending
criminals.
private prisons
That's another
in the
point
federal
for Clinton.
system. I want to see
Because
them
she
ended in the
just
state
found-
system. We
Trump
shouldn't
was
have a
supposed to
profit
blame
motivation
Clinton
to
for all of
fill
the drug
prison
laws and
cells
imprisoning
with
people.
young
Now
Americans.
she's flipped
So
that.
there are some positive ways
So that's
we can
another
work
point.
on
He
this.
can flip
And
it back,
I
though.
believe
But does anybody
strongly
believe her when she
that
says she's
common
gonna do
sense
it? That's the main
gun
Her supporters do.
safety measures
Yeah.
will
He
could
assist
just
us
flip
right
it, though.
now.
He could
At this
flip
And
it.
point,
this is
He
they're
could-
something
you know, you
that
could do
is
that.
supported
It's Clinton 6,
along with the
Trump
gun
6,
lobby right
Holt
now.
4.
We've got too many
when
military
Holt
weapons
goes
on the
to
streets.
6,
In
what
a lot
happens?
of places, our police
He's
are
a terrible
outgunned.
moderator if he
we
goes
need
above 1.
comprehensive background checks,
All right.
and we need to keep guns out of the hands of those who will do harm. And we finally need to
Unless
pass
they're
a
Muslim.
prohibition on anyone who's on the terrorist watch list
Oh.
from being
what's the
able
due
to buy a
process?
gun in our country.
What's
If
due
you're too
process,
dangerous
guys?
to fly, you are too dangerous to
She's
buy
attacking
a gun.
from the
So there are
right.
things
All right,
we
that's
can
a
do,
point.
and
I think
we
that
ought
might
to
be
do
a
it in
point for her.
bipartisan way.
Secretary
I already
Clinton,
gave
last
her
week
that
you said
point.
we've got to do
A
everything possible
bipartisan
to
way,
improve
as long as the
policing to go
Republicans
at
don't say anything
implicit
mean.
bias. Do you believe that police are implicitly biased against black people?
Lester, I think implicit
I have hot
bias
sauce.
is a problem for everyone.
I
not
am
just
an
for me.
unbiased moderator.
I think
I wanna-
unfortunately,
wait, I wanna
too
hear what
many
she's saying.
Of us in our great country jump to conclusions about each other.
But Trump
And
is a
therefore,
racist.
I think we need all of us to be asking hard questions about, Why am I feeling this way? But when it comes to policing, since it can have literally fatal consequences.
I believe Trump
I
has
wanna
said
hear this.
fact
My
at
first
least
budget,
once,
we
and she
would
said feelings
put
several
money into
times.
that
I find that
budget
interesting.
to
Oh,
help
yeah.
us deal with implicit bias by retraining a lot of our police officers. I've met with a group of very distinguished,
Well, I don't have an
experienced
air horn,
police
but I
chiefs
do
a few
have
weeks
drums.
ago. They admit it's an issue. They've got a lot of concerns. Mental health is one of the biggest concerns because now police are having to handle a lot of really difficult mental health problems on the street. They want
Yeah, like support for
They
Hillary
want
Clinton.
more training. They want more assistance. And I think the federal government could be in a position where we would offer and provide that.
I'd like to respond.
Please.
First of all, I agree, and a lot of people, even within my own party, want to give certain rights to people on watch lists and no-fly lists. I agree with you. When a person is on a watch list or a no-fly list, and I have the endorsement of the NRA, which I'm very proud of. These are very, very good people, and they're protecting the Second Amendment.
They're great
But,
people. They love me.
I think we
They
have to
love
look
me.
very strongly at no-fly lists and watch lists, and when people are on there, even if they shouldn't be on there, we'll help them legally, we'll help them get off. But I tend to agree with that quite strongly. I do.
Does
wanna
Hillary
bring
get a
up the
point
fact
for that
you
speech
were
she
the one
just
that
made?
brought up the word
I think you already gave her
predator
one.
about
Not for
young
the,
black
not for
Wait,
the,
I want to hear this. I want to
and
hear this.
that's a term that I think was it's been horribly met, as you know. I think you've apologized for it. But I think it was a terrible thing to say. And when it comes to stop and frisk, you know, you're talking about taking guns away. Well, I'm talking about taking guns away from gangs and people that use them. And I really don't think you disagree with me on this, if you want to know the truth. I think maybe there's a political reason why you can't say it, but I really don't think in New York City,
that is a
stop
point
and
for Trump
frisk,
right there.
we had 2,200 murders, and stop and frisk brought it down to 500 murders. 500 murders is a lot of murders. Hard to believe. 500 is like supposed to be good. But we went from 2,200 to 500, and it was continued on by Mayor Bloomberg, and it was terminated by current mayor. But stop and frisk had a tremendous impact on the safety of New York City, tremendous beyond belief. So when you say it has no impact, it really did. It had a very, very big impact.
Well, it's also fair to say, if we're going to talk about mayors, that under the current mayor, crime has continued to drop, including murders. So there
You're
is.
wrong. You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Murders are up.
Oh.
All right, you check.
New York
Oh.
has done an excellent job, and I give credit.
Call her a
I give
liar,
credit
Trump.
Across the board.
Call her a
going
liar.
back,
You know
Say
you
my
want
name.
to.
police,
Trump
Say
just
my
said
name.
you check it. I love that.
It has
he need,
worked, and other communities
do I need to change the
to
board on
come
this?
together to do what will work.
I don't know.
I
As
think,
well.
nah, leave it
Look,
alone.
one murder is too many. But it is important that we
He
learn
almost said stop
about
and fist.
what has been effective and not go to things that sound
Oh,
good.
Well, that's what
that
Milo
really
wants, so.
Did not have
Oh,
the
man.
kind of impact that we would want. Who disagrees with keeping neighborhoods safe? But let's also add, no one should disagree about respecting the rights of young men who live in those neighborhoods.
You mean the criminals?
And so we need to do a better job of working again with the communities, faith
That was a bad
communities,
move on
business
Hillary's part.
communities,
Now she lost
as
the
well
feminist
as the
vote.
police to try to deal with this problem.
This conversation
What did
is
she
about
do that
race,
lost
and
the
so, Mr.
feminist
Trump,
vote?
I have to ask
But
you
I'd like
for
to
She said
respond,
protecting
but
young
I'd
men.
like
Can't have that.
20
I'd just
seconds.
like to respond.
I don't think
Respond,
that's a
then I've
point
got to
loser,
go
though.
off.
Look, the African-American community has been let down by our politicians. They talk good around election time, like right now, and after the election, they said, see you later, I'll see you in 4 years. The African-American community, look, the community within the inner cities has been so badly treated. They've been abused and used in order to get votes by Democrat politicians because
give him
that's
a
what
point.
it is.
Give
They've
him a point for
controlled these
that.
communities for up to 100 years.
Mr.
I
Trump,
still feel like Hillary should have got another
And I will
point
tell
for
you,
what she was saying
you
earlier.
look at the inner
So,
cities, and I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and I just, you know,
So,
you've seen me. I've been all
The
over
bar
the
for the
place.
next point Hillary earns is really
You
low.
decided to
She
stay
should get an
home, and
easy
that's
point
okay.
next time she does
But
something.
I will tell you,
Okay.
I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people
Comedy.
I'll
I
ever
remember
meet
what that feels
within these
like.
communities.
I don't.
And they are very, very upset with what their politicians have told them.
Son,
and what
I
their
am
politicians
disappointed.
have done.
Mr. Trump,
I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared to be president.
Okay,
and
what?
I think that's a good thing.
What?
Mr.
Well,
Trump for
I think
5
she
years.
gets a
You've
point
been
for
sure
that.
has a
president.
flaw.
She got
No,
a
come on, that's
applause
a
from the
felony
audience.
flaw.
That's a point.
No.
Or she does not deserve a point.
No, how did he criticize her for knowledge in general for that? Like, what the hell? That had nothing to do with what he said.
Tell us what took you so
I'll tell you very well.
Yeah, but
just very simple
she
to
got.
say.
She was just looking for an
It works for the audience.
Works for.
I just love how he said in a speech that Obama's American, and yet everyone is still claiming that he didn't. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it was rehearsed, but it worked. These are Machiavelli points.
President Obama fought very hard.
Well, those people in the audience could have been paid.
You can check it out, and if you look
That
at
would
CNN
be a
this
Machiavelli
past
point.
week, Patty Solis Doyle was on Wolf Blitzer saying that this
Jew.
Blumenthal said
The points are who is increasing their political power the most from what they are saying.
to find out about it. They were
And the
pressing it
moderator,
very
if he
hard.
was doing his job,
She
would have
failed
0 points.
to get the birth certificate. When I got involved, I didn't fail. I got him to give the birth certificate. So I'm satisfied with it, and I'll tell you why I'm satisfied with it.
That was in
because I want to
2011.
get on to defeating ISIS.
Okay,
because
that's
I
another
want to
point
get
for
on to
Holt. He's
creating
interrupting
jobs.
Trump again.
Because I want to get on to having a strong border. Because I want to get on to things that are very important to me and that are very important to the country.
I'll let you respond. That's important, but I just want to get the answer here. The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January. So the question is, what changed your mind?
Well, nobody was pressing it. Nobody was caring
If he
much
follows
about
up,
it.
he gets
I figured
another
you'd
point.
ask the question tonight, of course, but nobody was caring much about it. But I was the one that got him to produce the birth certificate, and I think I did a good job.
You have a question, but am I on
Secretary
this chat?
Clinton also fought it. I mean, you know, now everybody in
Hello?
mainstream is going to say, "Oh, that's not true." Look, it's true.
Hello?
Sidney
Hi.
Blumenthal,
Okay.
Hi.
the reporter.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
You just
Hello?
have to
Are you
take
a
look
troll?
at CNN,
Are you going to start screaming
last
at
week,
us?
The interview with
I
No,
only
I've
invited
never
people
even-
from the flying in mailing
And she was
list
involved.
this
Oh,
time.
okay, good.
But just like she
This is
can't
not a
only-
publicly
jobs,
open
she
live
can't
stream.
produce.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to follow that. I will let you
I've only used
respond
Google
to that,
Hangouts
because
once,
there's a
so I
lot
wanted to
there,
make sure I was
but
doing
we're
this
talking
right.
about racial healing in this segment.
Are you? Is that
What
an
do you
accent
say
I
to
detect?
Americans
Well, it was very. I say nothing.
color?
I say nothing because I was able to get him
maybe?
to produce it. He should have produced it a long time.
Are you
before.
American?
I say
Okay,
nothing, but
wait,
let me
Holt
tell
just
you,
followed up
when
in
you talk
talking to
about
Trump,
healing,
so that's another point for
I
Holt.
think that I've developed very, very good relationships over the last.
Oh God,
little
this is
while
terrible.
with
I'm hearing people
the
twice now.
African American community. I
I'll
think
put on
you
some
can see
headphones
that.
or.
And I feel that they really wanted me to come to that conclusion, and I think I did a great job and a great service,
Somebody
not only
paste
for
the
the
link
country,
to
but
the
even for the
debate to
president in getting him to produce his birth certificate.
Secretary Clinton.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Just
Just
listen to what
FYI,
you
this
heard.
is live. We're
Yeah,
live.
yeah, I know. I've been watching it
Clearly,
while I was doing
as
homework.
Donald just admitted,
Oh,
he
right.
knew he was going to stand on this debate stage, and Lester Holt was going to be asking us questions. So he tried to put the whole racist birther lie.
Oh, she called him a
to
racist.
bed.
Oh, yikes. Is that,
But
does
it
that
can't be dismissed
yeah,
that
that's
easily.
a point for Hillary.
He has
Do it
Is it
more.
really? That's
started
really quite
his
unoriginal.
political
Yeah,
activity
call Trump
based on this
racist.
I
racist
think it,
lie that our first black president
See, it's what
was
she's
not
saying right now
an
sounds
American
very
citizen.
strong.
racist?
There was
It
absolutely
sounds
no
very
evidence
strong
for
right.
it,
to
but he
most
persisted. He
normies.
persisted year
So-
after year
So it's just
because
whatever gets the crowd going.
some of his
It's
supporters,
whatever
people that he
increases
was
the
She's
the
killing herself
politician's
for
bring
power
into
from
his
saying
fold
it, that
apparently
gives them points.
believed it or
I
wanted
want
to
to hear
believe
this.
it.
Sorry.
But remember, Donald started his career back in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent apartments in one of his developments to African Americans, and he made sure that the people who worked for him understood that was the policy. He actually was sued twice by the Justice Department. So he has
The same one that
a
won't investigate her?
long record of engaging in racist behavior. And the birther lie was a very hurtful one.
That I
You
started.
know, Barack Obama is a man of great dignity. And I could
Yeah,
tell how much it
started
bothered
it.
him and
I don't know whether she
annoyed
started
him
it, but she sure did use
that
it
this was
when
being
she was running.
touted
Oh, I'm
and
so sorry
used
that
against
the
him.
president was annoyed.
But
Oh,
like to
I
remember
feel
what
terrible
Michelle
for him.
Obama said in her amazing speech at our Democratic National Convention.
Because
when they
Michelle
go
Obama
low,
is just
we go
That's
high.
the real victim.
amazing.
And Barack Obama went high, despite Donald Trump's best efforts to bring him
Obama
down.
got high that night, despite Obama.
I want to hear
First of
this.
all, I got to watch in preparing for this some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated him with terrible disrespect. And I watched the way you talk now about how lovely everything is and how wonderful you are. It doesn't work that way.
Trump gets
you
a
were
point.
After him, you were trying to,
Yep.
you even sent out, or your campaign sent out pictures of him in a certain garb, very famous pictures, I don't think you can deny that. But just last week, your campaign manager said it was true. So when you try to act holier than thou, it really doesn't work. It really doesn't. Now, as far as the lawsuit, yes, when I was very young, I went into my father's company, had a real estate company in Brooklyn and Queens, and we, along with many, many other companies throughout the country, it was a federal lawsuit, were sued. We settled the suit with no admission of guilt. It was very easy to do, but they sued many people. I notice you bring that up a lot, and you know, I also notice the very nasty commercials that you do on me in so many different ways, which I don't do on you. Maybe I'm trying to save the money, but frankly,
I'm thinking that's another point for Trump.
Isn't that amazing? Because I settled.
Because the commercials thing is its own thing, and that's another point.
But that was
I'm
a lawsuit
sorry.
brought against many.
I'm trying to be
real
fair
estate
here.
firms, and it's just one of those things. I'll go on one step further. In Palm Beach, Florida, tough community, a brilliant community, a wealthy community, probably the wealthiest community there is in the world. I opened a club.
Part of a tough community.
And really got great credit for it. No discrimination against African Americans, against Muslims, against anybody.
Muslims. They worship Bullwinkle.
It's a tremendously successful club, and I'm so glad I did it. And I have been given great credit for what I did, and I'm very, very proud of it. And that's the way I feel. That is the true way I feel.
Our next segment is called Securing America. We want to start with a 21st century war happening every day in this country. Our institutions
I'm sorry,
are
the way he ended that made me laugh.
Our secrets are being stolen.
That
so
is
my
a true
question
way I
is, who's
feel.
behind it, and how do we fight it? Secretary Clinton, this answer
he
goes to
did
you.
go into feelings there, didn't he?
Well, I think cybersecurity, cyber
It just sounded like an ending where he didn't.
Wait, cybersecurity. Hang on, we got to hear this.
We're facing.
Please tell us about cybersecurity.
Will she tell us about cyber violence?
Everyone shut up.
Hacking groups that do it mostly for commercial reasons to try to steal information that they then can use to make
And then
money.
there's a Pepe meme.
She's got her facts
Increasingly,
right there.
We are seeing cyber attacks coming from states, organs of states. The most recent and troubling of these has been
Vital
Russia.
organs of states.
There's no doubt now that
The
Russia
spleen.
has
Sweet, sweet organs.
all kinds of organizations.
Feed me
and I'm
more
Therefore, Trump
children.
is
deeply
because
concerned
of
about
Russia.
this. I know Donald's very praiseworthy of.
Are we really going to talk about
Vladimir
Putin again?
Putin
Oh
is
my
playing
gosh.
A really tough, long game here. And one of the
just
things
sent
he's
out an
done
attack.
is
What the
to let
hell was
loose,
that?
cyber attackers to hack into government
Just like in
files, to
war
hack into
games.
personal files, hack into the
Would
Democratic
you like
National
to play
Committee.
a game of
And
chess?
we recently have learned that, that this is one of their preferred methods of trying to wreak havoc and collect information.
They stole my
We need to make it
emails.
very clear, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, or anybody
There's a bunch of
else.
gremlins.
The United States has much greater
It's not
capacity.
gremlins, it's Pepe
And we are
frogs.
not going to sit
All right.
idly by and permit state actors to go after our information, our private sector information or our public sector information.
Do
And
you
we're
think
going
she
to
loses a
have to
point
make it
here?
clear that we don't want to use the kinds of tools that we have. We don't
Well,
want
she
to
did get her
engage in a
facts
different
straight.
kind of warfare.
At least
But
she
we will
recognizes
defend
that it's not
the citizens of
grungy
this
teenagers
country.
in their
And the
garage
Russians
anymore.
need to
It's
understand
people,
that.
after
I think
money.
they've been treating it
Honestly,
as
I was
almost,
expecting her to
a
mention
probing.
trolls, so I'm amazed that she
How
didn't.
far would we go? How much
Yeah.
would we do? And that's why I was
she
so.
doesn't get a point, but she
I was
doesn't
so
lose one
shocked
either.
when Donald publicly.
How far would
What's
we
she
go?
saying about Donald now?
Hack into
Like
Americans.
using a private
That is-
email.
that is just unacceptable. It's one of the reasons why 50 national security officials who served in Republican information in administration
2 minutes has
have
expired.
said that Donald
Oh,
is unfit to be the
snap.
commander in chief. It's comments
Holt
like
gets a
that
point.
that really worry.
Hold the
people who
presses. He's
understand
not sold
the
out.
threats that
Well,
we face.
Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes in the same question. Who's behind it? And how do we
Actually,
fight it?
no,
wanna
I'm not
say
giving
that
I wanna-
him a point
I wanna
yet.
hear the
wanna see what he
response.
does to
and more are
Trump.
coming next week. It'll be over 200 admirals, many of them are here, admirals and generals endorsed me to lead this country. That just happened, and many more are coming, and I'm very proud of it. In addition, I was just endorsed by ICE. They've never endorsed anybody before on immigration. I was just endorsed by ICE. I was just recently endorsed 16,500 Border Patrol agents. So when Secretary Clinton talks about this, I mean, I'll take the admirals and I'll take the generals any day over the political hacks that I see that have led our country so brilliantly over the last 10 years with their knowledge, okay? Because look at the mess that we're in. Look at the mess that we're in. As far as the cyber, I agree to parts of what Secretary Clinton said. We should be better than anybody else, and perhaps we're not. I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but I don't, maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
Oh.
We don't know who broke into DNC.
I don't.
What did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders
stuff most of the
was
time.
taken advantage of
Bernie.
by your people.
Neckbeard Nation.
Beta uprising.
To her. But Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of. That's what we learned. Now, whether that was Russia, whether that was China, whether it was another country, we don't know. Because the truth is, under President Obama, we've lost control of things that we used to have control of.
Has he gone on for 2 minutes yet?
We came in with the internet. We came up with the internet.
Holt did not
and I think Secretary Clinton and myself.
I thought
would agree
Tim
very
Berners-Lee
much. When you
came
look
up
at
with
what
the internet.
ISIS is doing with the internet, they're beating us at our own game. ISIS. So we have to get very, very tough on cyber and cyber warfare. It is a huge problem. I have a son. He's 10 years old.
Oh,
he has
narrative
computers.
time.
He is so good with these computers. It's unbelievable.
He's hacked into the Russian state.
It's
The Russian state.
Very, very tough, and maybe it's hardly doable. But I will say we are not doing the job we should be doing. But that's true throughout
Did he say the
our whole
computer aspect of
governmental
cyber?
society.
Interrupted Clinton,
We have so
and
many
he
things that
hasn't
we have to do
interrupted
better,
Trump.
Lester, and certainly cyber is one of them.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think there are a number of issues that we should be addressing. I have put forth a plan to defeat ISIS. It does involve going after them online. I think we need to do much more with our
We'll
tech
troll them.
companies to prevent
The
ISIS
cyber
and their
violence
operatives
will have them
from
all
being
so
able
triggered
to
they
use the
just
internet
will
to
give up on their
radicalize,
jihad.
even direct people in our country, in Europe, and elsewhere. But we also have to intensify our air
How do you troll
strikes
ISIS with
against
pictures of
ISIS and eventually support our Arab and Kurdish
I was just thinking pictures of Mohammed, but bacon works
partners
too.
to be able to actually
Pictures
take
of
out
Mohammed
ISIS
made out of
in Raqqa,
bacon.
end their claim of being a caliphate.
A big old Mohammed
We're
bacon
making
sculpture.
progress. Our military is assisting in Iraq, and we're hoping that within the year, we'll be able to push ISIS out of Iraq and then, really squeeze them in Syria. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that they've had foreign fighters coming to volunteer for them, foreign money, foreign weapons. So we have to make this the top priority, and I would also do everything possible to take out their leadership. I was involved in a number of efforts to take out al-Qaeda leadership when I was Secretary of State, including, of course, taking out bin Laden. And I think we need to go after Baghdadi as well, make that one of our organizing principles, because we've got to defeat ISIS.
She wants to say go after
do everything
Daddy.
we can to disrupt their propaganda efforts.
I don't even.
online.
What was she
You
trying to
mentioned ISIS, and we
say?
think of ISIS certainly
El
as
Baghdadi,
over
but
there,
it sounded
there
like
are
Big
American
Daddy, like she was in
citizens that have been
Bioshock or
inspired to
something.
commit
Oh,
acts of
Baghdadi is
terror
an actual
on
name.
American soil. The latest
Yeah, he's
incident,
the
of course,
caliph
the
of
bombings we
ISIS.
just saw in
Oh,
New York and New
right.
Jersey, the
Caliph.
knife
It's
attack
Caliph.
at a mall in Minnesota, and the last year, deadly attacks in San Bernardino and Orlando. I'll ask this to both of you. Tell us specifically how you would prevent homegrown attacks by American citizens, Mr. Trump.
Well, first I have to
It's your
say
time
one
to
thing,
shine,
very
Trump.
important. Secretary Clinton is talking about taking out ISIS. We will take out ISIS. Well, President Obama and Secretary Clinton created a vacuum the way they got out of Iraq, because they got out, they shouldn't have been in, but once they got in, the way they got out was a disaster, and ISIS was formed. So she talks about taking them out. She's been doing it a long time. She's been trying to take them out for a long time. But they wouldn't have even been formed if they left some troops behind. like 10,000 or maybe something more than that. And then you wouldn't have had them. Or, as I've been saying for a long time, and I think you'll agree because I said it to you once, had we taken the oil, and we should have taken the oil, ISIS would not have been able to form either because the oil was their primary source of income. And now they have
all the oil
all
at
over the
once.
place, including the oil, a lot of the oil in Libya, which was another one of her disasters.
I don't know.
Secretary
Does he get
Clinton.
a point for that?
Well, I hope the fact checkers are turning up the volume and really working hard. Donald supported the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
That
Oh
is
my gosh, shut up about
absolutely
that.
Wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
He actually advocated for the actions we took in Libya.
I mean, in her
Urged
defense,
that,
he has,
Gaddafi be
but
taken
he's
out
approved of just
after
about everything.
Actually doing some
Didn't
business
she
with him
vote
one
for
time.
Iraq
But the
too?
larger point,
Yes.
he says this
Yeah.
constantly,
business opportunity.
is
If
Like,
these
George
were
W.
truth points,
Bush
she would have lost
made
one
the
just
agreement
now.
about when American troops would leave Iraq, not
I mean, at this point,
Barack
Donald
Obama.
Trump has approved
And the only
and
way that
disapproved of
American
everything,
troops could
so.
have stayed in Iraq is to get an agreement from the then Iraqi government that would have protected our troops. And the Iraqi government would not give that. But
Did he
let's
just
talk
make a
about
loser
the
sign?
question you asked,
Yes.
Lester. The question you asked is,
I
what
don't
do
know
we
if
do
that
in the
was
United
intentional.
States? That's the most
Well, that
important
looked
part
almost
of this.
like a loser
How
sign
do
to
we
me.
prevent attacks? How do we protect our people? And I think we've got to have
Like
an intelligence
Baghdadi?
surge where we are looking for
I don't think
every
that's how you
scrap of
pronounce his
information.
name, is it?
I
That's
was
what she
so
calls
proud
Bill
of law
Clinton.
enforcement in New York,
Maybe
in
maybe it was
Minnesota,
Elf or Liar.
in New Jersey. You know, they responded so quickly,
Or
so
Mike
professionally
Coxlong.
to the attacks
See, I didn't
that
realize
occurred by
Baghdadi was an
Rahami,
actual name.
And they brought him down.
Yeah.
And we may find out more information
it's
because
pronounced
he
that
is
way?
still alive, which
Yep.
may
Baghdadi.
prove
Abu
to be an
Bakr
intelligence
al-Baghdadi.
So she
benefit.
was right.
So we've got to do everything we can to
Wow. It sure-
vacuum
it
up
sure does sound
intelligence
funny,
from
though.
Europe, from the Middle
I still
East.
make big
Well, that's
daddy
right,
jokes.
dude.
We've got
That's
to work more
racist.
closely with
It
our
is racist.
allies. And that's something that Donald has been very
Yeah,
dismissive
well,
of. We're working
I
with
can't
NATO,
tell all those
the
non-white people apart
longest
anyway.
military alliance in the history of the world, to really turn our attention to terrorism. We're working with
Fritz,
our friends
need I
in the
say
Middle
anything?
East, many of which, as you know,
do you mean?
are Muslim majority nations. Donald has consistently insulted Muslims abroad.
Of course, I can't tell white
Muslims at
people
home,
apart either,
when
'cause I
we
got
need
bad
to
eyesight.
She's gonna call him a racist
with
again.
Muslim
The
nations
real
and with the
problem
American
is
Muslim
Donald Trump
community.
insulting
They're on
a
the front
Muslim.
line.
That's the
They
problem.
can provide information to us that we might not get
No, they
anywhere
won't.
else. They need
They
to
can't
have
stand
close
us.
working cooperation with law enforcement in these communities, not be alienated and pushed away as some of Donald's
Yeah, we
rhetoric,
can't alienate and
unfortunately,
push
has
away
led to.
ISIS. That would be
Mr.
terrible.
Well, I'd have to respond.
Please respond.
The secretary said very strongly about working with. We've been working with them for many years.
It's been a while since anybody's
And we
got
have
any
I wanna
the
points.
greatest
listen.
I
mess
think we
anyone's
might,
ever
we
seen.
might
You look at
be
the Middle
seeing
East,
about
it's
the
a total
balance
mess.
that'll be at the end.
Under your direction to a large extent. But you look at the Middle East. You started the Iran deal. That's another beauty where you
only
have
got about 10
a
minutes
country
left.
that was ready to fall. I mean, they were doing so badly. They were choking on the sanctions, and now they're going to be actually probably a major power at some point pretty soon, the way they're going. But when you look at NATO, I was asked on a major show, what do you think of NATO? And you have to understand, I'm a business person. I did really well, but I have common sense. And I said, well, I'll tell you, I haven't given lots of thought to NATO, but two things. Number one, the 28 countries of NATO, many of them aren't paying their fair share. Number two, and that bothers me because we should be, we're defending them and they should at least be paying us what they're supposed to be paying by treaty and contract. And number two, I said, and very strongly, NATO could be obsolete because, and I was very strong on this, and it was actually covered very accurately in the New York Times, which is unusual for the New York Times, to be honest. But I said they do not
Come on,
focus
Trump.
on
Come on,
terror.
good.
That's
Finish
true.
the sentence.
And I was very strong, and I said it numerous times.
What did he say?
And about 4 months ago,
He
I read
insulted
on the
the New
front
York
page of the
Times.
Wall Street
Yeah,
Journal
but I
that
mean, after
NATO
that.
is opening up a major terror division.
Dancing with the
And I
Stars
think
is where
that's
Trump
great.
was asked
and
about
I think
NATO.
we should get, because we pay
He
approximately
won't say what show it
73%
is
of the
because
cost
it's
of NATO.
Dancing
It's
with
a
the
lot of money
Stars.
to protect other people. But I'm all for NATO. But I said
Wow.
they have to focus on terror also, and they're going to do that. And that was Believe me, I'm sure I'm not going to get credit for it, but that was largely because of what I was saying and my criticism of NATO. I think we
Trump,
have to
stop
get NATO
talking.
to go into the Middle
I
East
think
with us.
Trump's going to lose
in
a point
addition
on
to
this if he
surrounding
keeps
nations,
going.
and we have to knock the hell out of ISIS, and we have to do it fast. When ISIS formed in this vacuum created by Barack
Still
Obama
talking.
and Secretary Clinton, and
Clinton,
believe
look,
me,
Clinton's
you're the
got
ones
that
that
bird
took out
just
the
ate
troops.
the
Not only
cat
that, you
look
named
because
the day. They
she
couldn't believe it. They
knows
sat
he
back
needs to
probably
shut
and
up.
said,
Well,
I can't
Lester,
believe
we've
it. They
covered-
said, no, wait a minute.
We've covered
when
this
they
ground.
formed,
Yeah,
when
she's
they
got
formed,
him.
this is
Oh,
something
man.
that
Trump
never should have
loses a
happened.
point.
It should have never happened. Now, you're talking about taking out ISIS.
It's
but
still
you were
9
there, and you
Trump,
were
8
Secretary
Clinton,
of
but
State when it was
if
a
he
little
keeps
infant.
talking, he's going to lose another
Now it's
point.
in over 30 countries. And you're going to stop them? I don't think so.
Mr. Trump, a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your...
I did
That's
not support
another
the war
point
in
for
Iraq.
Holt.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is mainstream media.
My question is, since you
would you like to
supported it,
hear?
why is your...
I was
Ooh,
against the war.
what?
I
Oh,
was
that's
against
another
the
point
war
for
in
Holt.
Iraq. Just so
Oh
you put
my
that
God,
there.
look
And
at that.
The record does not show that.
Trump,
is your
call him out,
Shows
Trump.
that I'm right.
Holt
When I
has
did an
as many
interview
points
with
as
Howard
Hillary
Stern,
now.
very lightly, first time anyone's asked me that, I said, very lightly, I don't know, maybe, who knows, essentially. I then did an interview with
Don't
be indicated by
the economy is
the
more
wire.
She's
I
in
then
standby
spoke to
mode,
Sean
as
Hannity,
indicated
which
by the
everybody
yellow light on the
refuses to call
control
Sean
panel
Hannity.
on the back of her
I had numerous
head.
conversations with Sean Hannity at Fox, and Sean Hannity said, and he called me the other day, and I spoke to him about it. He said you
Oh,
were
God, what are
totally
you
against war because
doing?
he was for the war.
Why is
and
your
excuse me,
judgment better than-
and that was before the war started. Sean Hannity
Oh,
said
look
very
at
strongly
Clinton.
to me
She's
and other people,
grinning.
he's
I
willing
think
to say,
she
but
ate
nobody
the
wants to call him.
entire aviary
I was
now.
against the war. He said, you used to have
Yep.
fights with me because Sean was in favor of the war. And I understand that side also, not very much.
She's
because
like,
we should have
oh,
never
I'm just
been there.
bored now.
But nobody called
No,
Sean
I'm
Hannity.
cringing
And then they
really
did an article
bad.
in a major magazine shortly
Trump,
after
please
the war started.
shut up.
Trump,
Okay,
stop it.
three,
Stop.
2,
But they did an article
One.
which had me totally
another
against the war
point
in
gone
Iraq.
from Trump. Now
And one of
everybody's
your
tied.
compatriots said, you know,
I'm
whether it was
muting it for a
before
second.
or right after, Trump was definitely, because if you read this article, there's no doubt. But if somebody,
this is
and
the
I'll
kind of
ask
thing
the press,
I tend to do
if
wrong.
somebody
I
would call
talk
up
way
Sean
too
Hannity,
much,
this was
I
before
feel like
the
he's
war
letting him
started,
talk because he knows
he
he's
and
just
I
shooting
used to
himself
have
in the foot.
arguments
Yeah,
about-
you're right.
I said it's a
Yeah.
terrible and a
He
stupid
is sounding
thing.
like
It's
the
going
Charlie
to
Brown
destabilize the Middle
teacher at
East,
this
and
point
that's
to the
exactly
most
what
of
it's done.
America.
It's been a
My
disaster.
reference was to what you had said in 2002, and my question was,
No, no,
why is
you
your
didn't hear what I
judgment,
said.
why is your judgment any
interrupting
different
him
than
again, but he
Mrs.
doesn't get a
Clinton?
Well, I
point
have much
because
better
he
judgment
needed to
than
be
she does.
interrupted that
There's no
time.
question about that. I also have a much better temperament than she has. You know,
Oh,
I have
that's
a
so
much
nice.
better. She spent, let me tell you,
That's sexist.
she spent hundreds of
But
millions
you-
of dollars on an advertising.
Oh,
You know, they
man.
get Madison Avenue into a room.
Look at Hillary. She knows she is winning, and she doesn't have to say a
Maybe by far
thing.
is my temperament.
You know, I think Hillary
Please
Clinton is
shut
handling-
up. Shut up.
Hillary Clinton gets a
The
point.
head of
She is
LCIO
handling
the other
this like a pro.
Behind the blue screen. I don't know who you were
I have to
talking
mute
to,
it because this is,
Secretary Clinton.
oh God, I'm
But
terrified.
you was totally out of control. I said, there's
He
a
was
person
doing well.
with a temperament that's
Clinton's
got a problem.
Clinton is charging up her
Okay.
battery.
She told.
Let's talk about two important issues that were briefly mentioned by Donald. First, NATO. You know, NATO as a military alliance has something called Article 5, and basically it says this: an attack on one is an
You
attack
get
on
some
all.
water after
And do
that.
you know the only time it's ever been invoked? After 9/11, when the 28
You know
nations
what?
of NATO
I suspect they're
said
going to
that
go
they
long.
would go to Afghanistan with us to fight terrorism, something
We're
that
talking
they
about
still
Iraq now,
are
darling.
doing by our side. With respect to Iran, when I became Secretary of State, Iran was weeks away from having enough nuclear material to form a bomb. They had mastered the nuclear fuel cycle under the Bush administration. They had built covert facilities. They had stocked them with centrifuges that were whirling away. And we had sanctioned them. I voted for every sanction against Iran when I was in the Senate, but it wasn't enough. So I spent a year and a half putting together a coalition that included Russia and China to impose the toughest sanctions on Iran. And we did drive them to the negotiating table. And my successor, John Kerry, and President Obama got a deal that put a lid on Iran's nuclear program without firing a single shot. That's diplomacy. That's coalition building.
If she
That's
does
working
anything
with
like
other
that again,
nations.
she'll get another
The other
point, because
day,
that was
I
that
saw
was a
Donald
line she
saying that
stole from Reagan.
There were some Iranian sailors on a ship in the waters off of Iran,
now
and
she
they
does
were
get a point
taunting
for that.
American sailors who were on a nearby ship. He said,
Fair enough.
if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water
Clinton
and start
10,
another war.
Trump
That's
8,
not good
Holt
judgment. That is not the right temperament to be commander-in-chief. To be
Turn around.
taunted. And the worst part of what we've heard Donald say has been about nuclear weapons. He has said repeatedly that he didn't care if other nations got nuclear weapons, Japan, South Korea, even Saudi Arabia. It has been the policy of the United States, Democrats and Republicans, to do everything we could.
Because
to
the one
reduce
country that's actually
the
used nuclear
proliferation of
weapons
nuclear
is really
weapons.
going to
He
be
even
a
said,
trustworthy
if
country
there were
to
nuclear war
consult
in,
on these things,
East
right?
Asia, well, that's fine. Have a good time.
Well, yeah, because we've got
And in
experience.
fact,
This is a complicated
his
issue.
cavalier attitude about nuclear weapons is so deeply troubling. That is the number
It's
one
problematic.
threat we face in the world, and it becomes particularly
She's almost to the
threatening
point of
if
getting another
terrorists
point
ever get
here,
their
because
hands on any nuclear material.
She's calling him.
So
She's
a
calling him
man
out
who
and
can be
saying he's
provoked by
unstable.
a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone would.
Congress
she
declares
just
war.
convinced the old people who remember the Cold War. That's another point
It's a
for
good one,
Clinton.
though. Well describes the
She is
problems.
3 points ahead of Trump at this point.
So I just want to give a lot of things and just to respond. I
Uh,
agree with her on one thing. The single
that's the ball's
greatest
game.
1 point for
the world
Molech.
has is
Yeah, I know.
nuclear armament, nuclear weapons, not global warming like you think in your president. Nuclear is the single greatest threat. Just to go down the list, we defend Japan, we defend Germany, we defend South Korea, we defend Saudi Arabia, we defend countries. They do not pay us.
We're against Saudi
what they should
Arabia,
be
you
paying
idiots.
us, because we are providing tremendous service and we're losing a fortune.
man.
That's why we're losing. We lose on everything. I say, who makes these? We
What are
lose
you
on
talking
everything.
about right now?
Well, I
She's
said,
trying to get
it's very
that.
possible
All I have to do is
that
be quiet.
if they don't
mode
pay a
back
fair
and-
share, because this isn't 40 years ago where we could do what we're doing.
He needs to not
We
talk
can't defend Japan,
too much.
a behemoth selling us cars by the million.
We need to move on.
Wait, but it's very important.
Oh,
All I
good
said was
Lord.
they have to defend
that was
themselves.
a, that was a point for
Help
Holt.
us out.
Does
We're a
that
country
does
that owes
Trump lose a
$20
point over
trillion.
that?
my
They have
God.
to help us out.
Our
As
last-
far as the nuclear is concerned, I agree. It is the single greatest threat that this country has.
Which leads my next question as we enter our last segment here still on the subject of securing America. On nuclear weapons, President Obama reportedly considered changing the nation's longstanding policy on first use. Do you support the current policy? Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes on that.
Well, I have to say that, for what Secretary Clinton was saying about nuclear with Russia, she's very cavalier in the way she talks about various countries. But Russia's been expanding. They have a much newer capability than we do. We have not been updating from the new standpoint. I looked the other night, I was seeing B-52s. They're old enough that your father, your grandfather could be flying them. We are not.
Holt is now
we are
ahead
not keeping
of
up with other
Trump.
countries. I would like everybody to end it, just get rid of it. But I would certainly not do first strike. I think that once the nuclear alternative happens, it's over. At the same time, we have to be prepared. I can't take anything off the table because you look at some of these countries, you look at North Korea, we're doing nothing there. China should solve that problem for us. China should go into North Korea. China is totally powerful as it relates to North Korea. And by the way, another one powerful is the worst deal I think I've ever seen negotiated that you started is the Iran deal.
China is
Iran
going to solve North
one of their
Korea
biggest trading
for
partners.
us?
Iran has power over North
What?
Korea. And when they made that
Just let
horrible
him
deal with
talk.
Iran,
He's having fun.
they should have included the fact that they do something with respect to North Korea. And they should have done something with respect to Yemen and all these other places. And when asked to Secretary Kerry, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you add other things into the deal? One of the great giveaways of all time.
Which deal is he talking about?
Including
The Iran deal.
$400 million in cash. Nobody's ever seen that before. That turned out to be wrong. It was actually $1.7 billion in cash. Obviously, I guess, for the hostages, it certainly looks that way. So you say to yourself, why didn't they make the right deal? This is one of the worst deals ever made by any country in history. The deal with Iran will lead to nuclear problems. All they have to do is sit back 10 years, and they don't have to do much, and they're going to end up getting nuclear. I met with Bibi Netanyahu the other day. Believe me, he is not a happy camper.
All right. Mrs. Clinton, Secretary Clinton, you have 2 minutes.
Let me start by
not get
saying
any points for
words
that.
matter. Words matter when you run for president, and they really matter when you are president.
Oh, God. Do emails matter?
And I want to reassure our allies in Japan,
Email
and
lives
South
matter.
Korea, and elsewhere
Ah, God, you
that
stole it
we
from me.
have mutual defense treaties,
Too slow.
and we will honor them. It is essential that America's word be good. And so I know that this campaign has caused some questioning.
All I
and
want
some
is Hillary to be
worries on the
humiliated
part of
before she assumes
many
ultimate
leaders
power. Is
across
that
the
too much
globe.
to
I've
ask?
talked with a number of
Yeah,
them.
I think Hillary's going
But I
to
want
win this.
to, on behalf of
The debate or the
myself,
election?
and I think on behalf
Both.
of
Okay.
the majority of the American
She sold her
people,
soul for
say
this.
that,
She's
you know,
got it
our
coming.
word is good.
She is Faust,
It's
isn't
also
she, Data?
important that we look at the entire global situation. There's no doubt that we have other problems with Iran, but personally I'd rather deal with the other problems having put that lid on their nuclear program.
I think
than
Hillary's
still
going to
be
be up
facing
5
that.
points tomorrow.
And Donald never tells you what he would do.
I don't mean in
Would
my
he have started
scoreboard.
a
I mean,
war?
you know,
Yeah, I
Would he have
know.
bombed
in the
Iran?
actual polls.
If he's going to criticize a deal
How many
that
debates are
has
there?
been
3.
very successful,
But
in
the first
giving
one, a
us
lot more people
access
pay
to
attention to the
Iranian
first one.
facilities that we never had
Yeah.
before,
Oh, yeah.
then he
That
should
short
tell
attention
us
span.
what his
Although
alternative
Trump
would be.
does
But it's
have
like
more
his plan
soundbite
to
moments
defeat
than
ISIS.
Hillary.
He says it's a secret
True.
plan, but the only
And
secret
so
is
people
It's
the
very
plan.
obvious.
So we
People
need
who
to
only
be
watch
more
it sort of
precise in how we
selected
talk
sound
about these
bites
issues.
from the
People
two
around the
candidates.
world follow our
Trump's are going to be
presidential
easy to
campaigns
cut out.
so
Hillary's
closely,
kind of
trying
wander
to get
around.
hints about
So-
what we
She was
will
trying
do.
with that whole
Can
trumped
they
up
rely on
trickle
us?
down.
Are we going to
Line,
lead
yeah.
the world with
You could tell that was her
strength
trying
and
to make a
importance
little
with our
soundbite.
values?
Soundbite.
That's what
Trump's
I intend
been
to do.
dropping sound
I
bites all
intend to
night,
be
so
a leader
people who
of
watch
our
it
country
that way
people
might
can count on, both here
actually
at home
think
and
Trump
around
won.
the world.
But this is
to make
looking like
decisions
Hillary
that
won.
will further peace and prosperity, but also stand up to bullies, whether they're
You did not just say
broad or
Hillary,
small.
right?
She said
We
stand up
cannot
to
let
bullies, and
those who would
this
try to
suggests Trump's a
destabilize
bully.
the world
That's
to interfere
Yep.
That's the
with
rhetorical
American interests
suggestion
and
of that.
security
Your
to
2
be
minutes
given
is-
any opportunities at all.
Your 2
Is
minutes.
expired.
Let's do one thing I'd like to
says
say.
Holt.
Very quickly.
I
20
will go
seconds,
very
please.
quickly, but I will tell you that Hillary
I
will
don't
tell
know. Holt
you
doesn't get a
to
point
go
for
to her
that. That was
website and
reasonable.
read all about how to defeat ISIS, which she could have defeated by never having it, get going in the first place. Right now, it's
No,
getting
talk
tougher
to her
and
how-
tougher
talk about
to
how
defeat
she's
them
do-
because
she has a
they're
better
in more
plan on
and
how
more
to defeat a
places,
cartoon
more
frog.
states, more and more nations.
Yeah,
no
It's
kidding.
a big problem.
He should
And as
be
far as
making
Japan
fun of
is
that.
Call her
concerned,
crazy
I want
and
to help
sick.
all of our allies, but we are losing billions and billions of dollars. We cannot be the policeman of the world. We cannot protect countries all over the world.
this is
where they're not paying
this
us
is losing
what
a
we
point
need.
for
We
Trump.
have just a few final
Saying
seconds.
America
because she's got
can't
no
do
business
it.
ability. We need
That-
heart, we
is
need
that
a
what
lot
we
of
wanna
things, but you
hear
have to
from
have
a president?
some basic ability.
I'm
Yes.
sorry,
Sadly,
Trump goes
she
down
doesn't
1
have that.
point.
All of the things that she's talking about could have been
I mean,
taken
you
care
know,
of during the
normies
last
don't
10
wanna hear
years,
that
let's
from a
say,
president,
while
that
she
America
had
can't
control.
do
If
things.
they weren't
Normies
taken
leave.
care of, and if she ever wins this race,
I mean, I'd like a
This
president that's
This year,
realistic.
Secretary Clinton became the
Yeah,
first
but,
woman
you know,
nominated
you're
for
intelligent.
president by
Most
the
people
I don't
are.
want us to be the
Earlier this
world's
month, you said
policeman,
she doesn't have,
but I mean,
quote, a
But the way he
presidential
phrased
look.
that,
She
the
said
way
Yeah,
he
yeah.
phrased that
Right
was
now, what did you mean by
America
that?
can't do
she
it.
doesn't have the look. She doesn't
You
have
do
the
not
stamina.
want to say that if you're
She
running for
doesn't
president.
have the
He
stamina.
said he can't do it when the other countries.
Wait, I think she's calling her sick.
To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
The quote was,
You have-
she has
Derailed.
Did you ask me a question? You have to be able to negotiate our trade deals. You have to be able to negotiate, that's right, with Japan, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, can you imagine when we're defending Saudi Arabia, and with all of the money they have, we're defending them, and they're not paying?
God
you have
wanted
to do
Hillary to lose,
you have so
he would
many
send her a
different
coughing
things
fit
you have
right
to be able to do,
now.
and I don't believe that Hillary has the stamina.
Let's let her respond.
I am healthy.
As soon as he
I
travels
am
to
alive.
112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
The world.
Wait, did she get a point for that?
Hillary has
Wow, she broke NBC.
But it's bad experience.
She gets a point for that,
We
for
have
sure.
made so many bad deals during the last... So she's got experience, that I agree, but it's bad experience. Whether it's the Iran deal that you're so in love with, where we gave them $150
I think he might be flipping this around.
back,
Yeah,
whether
he
it's
might
the
get a
Iran
point for that.
deal, whether
Maybe.
it's anything
if
you
he carries this part off.
You almost can't name a good deal. I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years of that kind of experience.
We are at the
the crowd cheered about that.
Is, you know, he tried to switch
that's
from,
not worth the point,
from
though.
looks to stamina. But this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs,
Oh,
and dogs.
God.
And
Did he call women that, or did he
who
call
has
some
said-
particular women that?
Oh,
Pregnancy
oh
is an
gosh, here
inconvenience to
comes.
Doesn't
himself.
matter to the
Who
public.
has said women don't deserve equal pay unless they do as good a job as men. And
Well, yeah,
one of the
exactly.
worst things he said
What?
was about
That's called
You can just
equality.
tell-
woman in a beauty contest.
You can just tell she's been
He
waiting to
loves
bring this
beauty
whole- the
contests,
whole sexism
supporting
thing
them
up.
and hanging
Oh yeah,
around them.
absolutely.
And he called this woman
God.
Miss Piggy. Then
You
he
just had
called
that
her
here's my
Miss
chance look.
Housekeeping because she
Didn't
On
was
the
looking
road.
I
Donald, she
remember
has
the
a
Miss
name.
Piggy thing,
Her
but who did he
name
call
is
that?
Patricia Machado,
Rosie
and
O'Donnell,
she
I
has
thought.
become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet
really?
she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good. Let me just tell you.
Mr. Trump, you can take 10 seconds and then
point
we're
for
for
that?
power.
No,
Hillary has
no.
hit me with
It was an ad
tremendous
hominem.
commercials. Some of it said an
These aren't
entertainment.
truth points.
Some of it
These are
said
Machiavelli
somebody
points.
who's been
I
very
understand,
vicious to
but-
me,
Okay.
Rosie O'Donnell. I said very tough things to her, and I think everybody would agree that she deserves it, and nobody feels sorry for her. But you want to know the truth? I was going to say something extremely rough to Hillary, to her family, and I said to myself, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's inappropriate. It's not nice. But she spent hundreds of millions
Trump
of dollars
gets a point for
on
that.
negative ads on
Yep.
me, many of which are absolutely untrue. They're untrue
Because
and they're misrepresentations.
this is something that
and
the
I will
Never
tell you
Trump
this,
people
Lester, it's
might
not
actually be
nice,
swayed by.
And I don't, I don't deserve that.
And that
but it's
is a
certainly
big
not
deal
a
for
nice
Trump.
thing that she's done. It's hundreds of millions of ads, and the only gratifying thing is I saw the polls come in today, and with all of that money,
We
over
have to move on to
$200
the
million
final question.
is spent. And I'm either
Yeah,
winning or
Holt
tied.
does get
and
a
I've
point
spent
for that,
practically
but not
nothing.
just for that, also for the time he interrupted Hillary before. Those two events together make a point.
Tonight, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters? Secretary Clinton?
Well, I support.
No, I will raise an army against you.
And,
Actually, that's a
sometimes
good
you win,
question.
Sometimes you lose.
I think he-
but I certainly
I think
will
he
support
goes back
the
down to 9
outcome
points
of
for
this
that.
election. And I know Donald's trying very hard to plant doubts about it, but I hope the people out there understand.
Well, you have no choice.
This election's really up to you. It's not about us so much as it is about you and your
Yes, it is.
families and the kind of country and future you want. So I sure hope you will get out and vote as though your future depended on it, because I think it does.
Mr. Trump, very quickly, the same question. Will you accept the
NBC is
outcome as the will of the
cutting,
voters?
cutting
I
out
want to
on me
make
here.
America great again. We are a nation that is
MAGA.
seriously troubled. We're losing our jobs. People are pouring in to our country. The other day, we were deporting 800 people. And
He's not
perhaps
answering
they
the
passed the
question.
wrong button. They pressed
He
the
doesn't
wrong
want
button,
to.
or perhaps, worse than that, it was corruption. But these people that we were going to deport for good reason ended up becoming citizens. Ended up becoming citizens. And it was 800.
What
and
are you
now
talking
turns
about?
out it might
Stop
be
it.
1800, and they
He's
don't
all
even
over
know.
the place.
Look, here's the story.
Well, his main point, he's trying to be rushed, but his main point is that the Democrats are taking illegals and giving them citizenship under the table in exchange for
What does that have to
votes.
do with the question?
Will you accept the outcome of the election? Well, if the Democrats are using underhanded tricks with citizenry and shit
so
like
he's
that,
saying no.
He's saying no. He's saying there's things at play.
And October 19th.
But you can't just come out and say no, because then the media is going to be like, "Oh my God, right-wing teabagger."
Right.
Yeah.
I will raise an army and we will march on Washington.
Exactly.
Like the Insane Clown Posse is going to do next year.
And to Hofstra University for
Oh dear God.
Yeah, watch next September, I think it is. Just about or maybe it was.
Yeah, remember, this election will never
August.
end.
No, I'm saying the Insane Clown Posse has said that they're going to raise an army and march on Washington next year. There's going to be the Insane Clown Posse march on Washington. And I think they're going to do it, too. That's my prediction for next year. No matter who's president, the Insane Clown Posse is going to have a march on Washington.
Where's Bill?
And it's going to be a big one.
Juggalos.
So many juggalos.
It's the thing that culture is a lot more powerful than politics.
So did we shut down the video at this point?
I will after we decide. Do we want to make any sort of closing statements, anyone?
Yeah, sure.
No, I just mean like the actual video of the debate now that it's over.
Oh, yeah, I pressed... well, let me say what the final score was first. The final score was Hillary Clinton 12, Lester Holt 9, where he should have had 0, but he has 9, and Donald Trump 8.
Oh my God.
That doesn't surprise me.
Ouch. The
Those last
moderator has
15
more
minutes were really
points
brutal for
than
Trump.
one of the candidates.
Yeah, why does that surprise you?
Well, I guess just because I have an idea that moderators should be moderators. They shouldn't be running for president.
But why did you think that they would actually be unbiased or, you know,
I didn't think they would be, but
moderator?
I think our level of outrage should not be lessened by the outrage being repeated election cycle after election cycle. If I was the Republican candidate, I'd just say, no, I'm not going to attend a debate hosted by NBC.
Well, the thing is,
remember what happened? Remember the one of the Republican, the GOP debate, the CNBC catastrophe where they, were just insulting the candidates openly. Remember that?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Was that the one
The-
with Candy Crowley?
The moderators at those debates were insulting the candidates openly. Yep, I remember.
Yeah. Well,
That's
Holt
the one
did
where
that a couple
Chris
times.
Christie and Ted Cruz both came out and called them out on it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good shining moment
So
for
did
him.
you want Donald Trump to call them out on it, essentially?
Yeah.
Yes.
If he makes himself look more like the underdog and he keeps going that, you're basically just all slandering me, you're just saying lies, the media's in her pocket. If he had gone on that, he would have done a lot better.
They
He
say
did talk about media
off
myths, to be fair.
off to kiss a few babies now. That was pretty.
He did
funny
bring it
in
up.
the chat.
Where are the other debates going to be?
On the
The
internet.
seventh, which circle of hell do you mean?
I said the 9th circle of hell in Satan's frozen heart.
No, they're saving that one for her seat when she becomes president.
Ah.
I wouldn't be surprised that when she sits down in the Oval Office, everything starts to go up in flames, and she grows the horns out.
It's all just going to start changing like Silent Hill's world.
I don't think so. I think Hillary Clinton's pretty much going to govern the same as Obama.
Yeah, and Data, don't you actually kind of think that's a bit of a better outcome than if Trump wins?
I think that Hillary Clinton victory is in some ways, it's more disruptive to the system because if Trump wins, the country kind of goes back to normal. The progressive narrative gets a reprieve. With Hillary Clinton as president, I think the whole script changes for the left-right dynamic.
Yeah.
How do you think that dynamic would change, Distributist?
I think that the right will totally realign its coalition, and I think that at that point, on the right, I can't predict whether the alt-right or some other faction will win and take over the Republicans, but I know that fusionism will permanently die. Whereas
which is why I am so ticked off at Trump and won't be voting for him under any circumstances.
Well, if Donald Trump wins, actually, fusionism has a chance because fusionists can always sort of woo Trump and convince him to adopt their platform. A Republican loss in 2016 is just devastating for the conservative movement because it will be potentially one of the last elections that's demographically.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Trump doesn't win this one, the Republicans will never win another presidential election.
Which is why I would like him to win for short-term preservation. Otherwise, we're screwed.
But I'm not so sure what is Trump going to do to the demographic situation in 4 years is the question.
Build a wall.
Yeah,
well,
I'm not sure that's going to make a difference.
Yeah. So they've now switched over to the info babes and other robotic talking heads on the.
We can do better than
yeah,
they
I already
can.
turned that off.
So I think I'm going to turn that completely off now.
I wish I'd really love to pass a law where at certain point they start playing the national anthem. It goes, "This has been the conclusion of our broadcast hour."
Also, I don't think there are any American flags
for it.
Were there? I'm not sure.
I'm gonna
Trump
yield.
had his American tie pin. I thought that was.
Yeah, but were there any flags on the stage?
No.
No.
NBC hates America.
That's funny to me.
Yeah. So, wow, I was not expecting Hillary Clinton to pull ahead this much. I was not. I was almost thinking she might even cough while she was on stage.
Just give it time. In one of these debates, she will.
I think
I was honestly kind of expecting Trump to not do well at all. Like I was expecting this to begin with, but I really was hoping for Hillary Clinton to do something for me to laugh at her at least once.
What would you say would be the greatest gaffe of the night?
What do you mean?
Well, Trump's monologue towards the end, where
he talked too long. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah, he went into the Charlie Brown teacher mode there.
Not that he hasn't before, but it was probably a bad idea.
The thing is, these debates are a totally different beast from the Republican primary, because in those ones, you can just be an ass to everybody. And that's what worked for Trump.
The Republicans were very frustrated at their 2 losses in a row, you know.
And now it's going to be 3, and then 4 if she wins again.
What I'm saying is, it was an atmosphere
if Hillary
where he
wins,
use that a little bit.
If Hillary wins 2016, I think she's going to win 2020 for sure.
Of course.
And you who my dad actually predicts is going to be the Democratic one after her is Andrew Cuomo.
I think it's a little too early to tell.
Yeah,
if he does,
it's too early.
Honestly, if he does, I'll be happy because then at least he'll be out of New York, ruining our state.
Okay, so
he's El Duce.
So I think we kind of have a consensus that Hillary was the clear winner this time.
Yep.
And that we're all
winner
pretty
in
screwed.
terms of your Machiavelli score.
What? Oh, the final Machiavelli score was Hillary Clinton 12, Lester Holt 9, Donald Trump 8.
Right.
Well, to be fair,
I wasn't sure what you meant winner of.
On a Machiavelli scale, to be fair, Democrats are always going to win.
But
is that necessarily a bad thing for the audience, though?
Well,
does the audience want a Machiavelli?
Not necessarily. The Machiavelli score really has more to do with how well what they're saying.
Oh, great! Another Nazi shooting.
What?
There was a shooting in Houston, 9 injured, suspect dead, and he had Nazi emblems.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow.
Here we go again. Well, at least it wasn't a Confederate flag.
This is going to be Trump's fault.
Yep.
He
went on this place called 4chan
talking
and
to that guy on the internet. That's how much the media is going to say this was Trump's fault.
It was Milo.
Anyway,
At least
I was going to say
he was a supporter of Gamergate.
The Machiavelli points are about how well what the politician is saying or doing on TV is enhancing or detracting from their popularity, essentially.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so, no, it's not true that the Democrats will always in every debate have a higher Machiavelli score. I think Romney won at least one of the debates in 2012.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With his binders of women.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I think we're about ready to at least stop broadcasting.
right,
You
well,
don't want
it's
to
been
discuss the implications a little bit further?
Oh well,
I would
do
love
you
to.
want to do this offline, or do you want to?
But you know, I.
Oh yeah,
we have to
Ben's
kind of
call.
watch
Ben's
what
call.
we say if we're going to keep this live. If we go offline, then we can say what we really think. No,
We're all secretly leftists.
We're all secretly leftists. This is a giant false flag operation.
And except
I
for
hope
Matt,
George
who's actually,
Soros pays me well.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
He never sent me a paycheck. What the heck, guys? Come on.
I mean, you're not Jewish enough, so.
Yeah, I
man.
think I'm going. I think just so that we have a nice, neat ending instead of everything kind of fading out as people need to leave. I think I'm going to quit now, and hopefully,
All right.
my plan is I want to do this for every one of the 3 debates, and just heckle the candidates and keep score. So,
Well, I'll
have
be
a
back
nice,
if you'll have me.
Yeah, I think everybody was okay. So join us again at the next debate.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Night. Thanks.
Right.